You're in a
us
boat,
about that.
and next minute you just see this hippo, like a speedy manatee, coming after you. And the boat takes off. You're hanging on. This thing's coming. You see the teeth. You're like, oh, I don't want to be hippo food. We would go via McDonald's and buy the Uber driver whatever he wanted at McDonald's as a way to like bribe him to not do anything to us. It's a different world. So difficult to articulate to people. And also like when we had a night out, if we made it back, not spiked, with our phone, with our ID, with our money, like without something being stolen or being drugged, it was a good night, which is wild.
My God.
So going out in Europe like we did in Lisbon was so freeing for me.
Welcome,
Hey, Captain!
Alexandria of the world.
You can't call me Alexandra because that's when I'm in trouble. I only get called Alexandra when I'm in trouble. It's Alex.
Okay.
Alex.
So when you're a bit naughty, maybe we'll revisit that after some drinks. Anyway, truly a gal of the world. I'm trying to professionalize the introductions at this point. So I met you in Lisbon, Portugal, at check-in, the gal with the best energy of the entire place.
I was so excited.
It was great. It was great. I loved it. I remember it and I was like, it's going to be fun now. Alex is here.
The party's arrived.
Some people are a little bit grumpy, and you were like, yes, I am home. This will be amazing.
That was honestly the best hostel ever, was it not? It was so homey.
Really?
In the name.
We got some interesting things to talk about for Lisbon, but real quick before then, you are of England, South Africa, and Peru?
Yeah, technically.
Yeah, I love that.
Do you want me to
A true
explain
woman
it?
of the world. I've got so many questions you have no idea. I've got imaginary clipboard. I'm going to go through them.
I'm ready.
I don't know if you've got a
Rapid
crop
fire.
handy, but you might need it later.
Not in here, but as you can see, horses, and there's more that's everywhere. And also...
That is a horse skull. That's a horse. That's not part of a horse. Did you just win that?
last year.
Congratulations. What kind of... Oh, and you are a master of the horses, by the way.
Master's a bit of a stretch.
Master S?
Wannabe pro.
Wannabe pro. I like that. I am curious. I know this is travel, but tell me, what have you broken again while riding a horse? And is that the skull of one of your horses on your wall?
That is a skull that I drew as my grade 12 final art piece.
Oh my gosh.
I loved it so much. It took me ages. So it's now above my bed, which some people might think is a bit morbid, but I love it. And it's not accurate, so it can't be used in a textbook, but because of the teeth,
he
but
kicked
everything
you
else
off.
is right.
You skinned him and you drew his skull for a memorial. Perfect.
That would be truly morbid. I drew that one as well at my current horse, but he's not so good. He's got like a black patch in the middle that I buggered up the neck, so I just was like, color it in.
Shadow.
And that's him.
I love it. He's looking rather snarky. I saw some of your videos online of him and your selfies. He looks really nice.
He is a sexy horse, if I do say so myself.
I did hear you guys were weird. You horse people were weird. I'm not going to cheers to that. I was about to cheers because you have to cheers
That's
before
okay.
every drink. I'm going to cheers to something else now. How about we cheers?
What are you drinking?
To the spontaneity of adventure.
Yes. I don't have a drink with me because I'm dry Januarying. How boring.
I don't think
Is it rum?
that's what we're supposed to do in January. Okay, so I don't actually know what this is because I ran out of wine from my hippie place. And
Wine.
let's see, it says it's very smooth. And usually if you have to say that a bunch, I'm concerned. It's Paul Mason. It's Grande Amber. It's very smooth again. I don't know how smooth this can be.
It just means it's not going to be smooth on the way out.
It's what?
It's not going to be smooth on the way out.
It is, I don't know if you can see it with the video. It's 40% alcohol. It is
Perfect.
something that was used to make food over the holidays, and it now gets consumed by me because I ran out of
Is
wine.
it sweet?
It is sweet in an old man kind of way. So I
Okay.
think you might like it.
Perfect.
You know what I mean?
Just
It's
my
not
favorite
sweet.
type.
It's not sweet in a kind of like 19-year-old uni girl. Let's go have some gin fizz. I don't know, with sparkles in it or something. It's,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't. You know those
It's like
colorful drinks.
sherry or like cherry brandy kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah.
Yummy. I think
But
you
so-
asked me a question about 5 minutes ago and we got totally distracted by up there.
My awesomeness. Oh, or the horse.
Shall we circle back to the question before we
I don't
carry
know.
on?
What
in
was
our
the question? I
tangent?
totally forgot. So here's the
I
funny
don't
thing.
think you're going to remind me.
This is technically episode 5, but it might be episode 4 because in episode 2, both of us drank too much and we might have to cut out some stuff because yeah. And I've decided that this is going to be my time to relax because it's so fun to connect. It just really is because we travel the world. We meet the most amazing people. Like however many countries you or I have visited, you will always meet someone who's like 10 times more, who's done the craziest stuff. And it's like excitement after excitement after excitement. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And we all understand each other so well. And then you go home.
And then it's boring and sad and monotonous and mundane and shit.
Who do I talk to? This is like a therapy session now. I should have started it years ago. I should have started this during COVID. I would have some more sanity.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody was doing things online in COVID. You missed the boat. Although, arguably, with TikTok going down, you could be the new thing.
I am the new thing.
You are the thing.
I hope it doesn't go down because I say we, me and my alternate ego, our other personalities are going to try and promote this on TikTok. So I hope it doesn't disappear. But
I'm sure Trump will fix that. As soon as Trump comes into power, he's going to sort it out.
yeah, he's going to name it Trump Talk.
Take Trump.
I have too much fun with politics. You know, you travel, you get such a broad perspective, and then you come home and everyone is so myopic, everyone is so focused, and they're like, oh, you don't know this? You're not so upset by this? You're not blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, I was just in the Amazon, okay?
Right.
Calm the F down. Chopping down trees with machetes to make the morning salad that you're eating with the illegally captured alligator crocodile thing that you don't know what's going on, but your guy just sharpened a stick and stabbed it in the head. So no, I wasn't following.
It's all about
politics.
perspective. Absolutely. And that's how people,
Also,
I mean,
we
I
have
don't,
it so-
I don't follow
Go on.
politics at all. I don't follow politics at all. British politics, American politics, nothing. Just what I see on the odd headline or what I hear on the radio, because I just don't care.
Yeah.
Unless
Well,
it directly affects me, I just don't care.
Yes, ma'am. I agree with that. Now, before we
Rather
get
go
into,
and see
because
the world.
I'm about to start talking about fires if we don't do this, because I know some people in Los Angeles, they've been sending videos and photos of the fires.
Oh,
Apparently, I wasn't supposed to reply with, better go buy some marshmallows, but I'm,
Too soon.
anyway,
Too soon.
I need like a real life editor. I think that's supposed to be up
real
here.
life filter. Yeah, I'm like that too. People are like, you're so blunt. I'm like, oh, is that how you say I'm rude?
The filter is just sleeping. Tell me, as we ease into the discussion of travel,
Yes.
where have you been? Just give a general overview.
Well, I grew up in South Africa, and within SA, I've been to Cape Town, Durban, Plettenberg Bay, Swaziland, Lesotho, Drakensberg, all of these amazing places. I also have traveled to Mauritius recently.
I saw
So
that.
much fun. So much fun. My family all live scattered across the globe. I've got cousins and aunties and uncles in America. I've got cousins, aunties and uncles in South America. I've got them in Canada. I've got them across Europe, all over the show. So I've only done East Coast in America, and I've done Peru. I say I've done a tiny little fraction. Obviously, you want to go back and do more. And when I was very little, Brazil and Argentina, so I don't really remember, but I'd like to go back. And then, just hopped around Europe, but mostly been in Europe competing. So Lisbon was actually my first solo trip. Was originally booked as a
Really?
trip. Yeah, it was originally booked as a trip with my ex-boyfriend.
Oh,
Ex-boyfriend. Tickets were non-refundable and non-transferable. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go and I'll stay in a hostel and I'm gonna have the best single life ever. And I did. And now I just want to travel. So yeah. Where else have I been? All over the show, really. I've been very lucky, but I've got obviously my list of places I want to go is way exceeding the places I've already been.
I
Yeah.
love that was your first solo travel experience, and I feel like I got to witness it from the side. I'm sorry I didn't get the full experience. There were a couple nights where I did not go out, but it
Oh,
was
to be
just a super
fair,
busy summer.
I think I was only there for 5 days, and there was only one night that I didn't go out, and I regretted it. The rest of the time, I was like, I will go out. It was so much
I
fun. I loved
remember
that.
one particular night would have been good for me to go out, but I've got a photo of you and me before you went out. It was a good time.
How do I not know about this photo?
Everyone was just having a great time. I'll send it
I
to you
have a
later.
brilliant
It's
photo of you at the bar. I think you were wearing a wig and your captain hat or something, and you were just like, it was great. That's my favorite photo of you.
There is a chance we went out on the pub crawl together. Yeah.
I
But
think we
anyway,
did. I think the first night.
I was very well behaved when we met. Situations were a little bit different than they are now. So,
Oh, do share? What do you mean?
no.
I want to know. Tell me the tea, pirate. How have situations
I love
changed?
that. Tell me the tea. Is that the most
Yeah,
British thing? It's the
yeah.
most British thing I've ever heard.
Spill the
Tell me the
tea.
tea.
Spill the tea.
And then also, if it's lunchtime, it's actually called tea.
Well,
Or maybe
it
that's
depends which
Ireland.
part of the UK you're in. The Northerners like to call lunch dinner and dinner supper or tea.
I remember I
It's
was in
weird.
an elevator in Ireland, which I know is different, and I had a pizza, and some old lady got on and said, "That's some really nice tea you got there." And then she tried
Yeah.
to coax me out of a slice. I was very
Well,
confused.
the Irish are very friendly, so I love the Irish. Oh, I've been to Belfast. Forgot about that. That was really
I
fun.
think the Irish that don't live in central Dublin might be friendly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
might
well,
give.
Dublin's like London. It's just an extension of the rest of the world. It's not like proper Irish people. London's not full of Londoners, full of New Delhi.
I was I was 3 months in the supercenter of Dublin. Dublin one.
Three
It
months.
was
Wow.
Liffey Street, or no, the Liffey River, whatever, and O'Connell Street, right there, right across from Temple Ship Bar. And one morning, there was someone shooting up heroin in the entrance to the hostel.
Nice.
The owner comes out. He's a small business owner. It was a huge hostel, but he comes out and he's like trying to shoo the person away. But you don't know what to do. You don't really want to touch them. They've got a needle in
No.
their arm, and it was welcome to Dublin, baby.
And you were like, shit.
That's also I had a great time there, but it was just very interesting. A lot of cultures clashing all at once. And being in the hostel, you see all the foreigners coming in, and you're a
Yeah,
foreigner,
yeah.
so you get along with the foreigners, so you hang out with the foreigners, and then there's quite a lot of them looking for jobs. And so I saw it from their perspective, and it was rather interesting. And there were some, I don't want to start it off negatively, but there were some interesting situations that happened. But then when I met Irish people that were just from anywhere outside the city center, they were just the most
Yeah.
lovely people ever.
Yeah.
And they're all like,
Yeah.
"What's the crack?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"I don't
I love
have
the
any
Irish.
crack, you weird leprechaun person."
They're like, oh, do you want to come back to me, gaff? And you're like, you what? Their house. I love Irish people so much. Honestly, if the weather was better in Ireland, I would go live there. because I find the Irish
Really?
people very similar to South Africans. They have the same sort of blasé approach to life. And when things are like a bit chaotic or you're in a crisis, they just adapt, improvise, and overcome. There's none of this red tape. There's none of this panicking. You just make a plan and get on with it. And that's why I like the Irish. Whereas the
I
Brits are
like that. That's great. Have you ever met an accent you couldn't understand from Ireland?
Yes. Yes. When I went to County Cork, I was like, what?
There's so
The
many
Northerners
things
are
you
good.
learn when... Go on.
Say again. The Northerners are really good because they sound like they're singing and potato, da 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 da. And then the Southerners that, and I can't even. I can't.
English never made it really down there. Like they heard of English
No.
a little bit on TV, but not much.
Yeah, it's the same. I haven't been to Scotland yet on the list. My brother is currently working in Scotland. But he says that like the Glaswegian accent is mad. Like going to Glasgow. Edinburgh's way easier. So I didn't even realize there was a difference between the two. So I shall have to
love
find
it.
out for myself.
I love how up north they sound like leprechauns and down south they just sound like golems. But in reality, when you get there, it's so funny to hear these foreigners. So we're in the hostel there, or I made friends though. And you get people from all over the world and they hear my English. Then they'll talk to
American.
like a southern, then they'll talk to a southern British person who's visiting for a bit. Then they'll talk to an Irish person. And at the end of the day, when we're having drinks, they're like, John, I can't do this. All you fuckers are speaking different English. It's like 3 different languages in one day.
That is exactly how I felt when I first moved to the UK, because I was at an international sports yard and we had somebody from Manchester, we had an Irish guy, we had a Scottish guy, we had a girl from Cambridge, we had a guy from Newcastle, so Geordie, very Geordie. Then we had an American from Florida. Then we had a German. Like all of these, everyone was speaking English, but I had no idea what was going on. I must have thought I was retarded because I was like, what? Again? Pardon? Huh? Like, well, I had to repeat themselves so many times because I was just like, no. So I get that. But I don't think we struggled in Lisbon.
Do what?
We didn't struggle in Lisbon with the accent, did we? We had quite a diverse range of English.
No, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. And there's a lot of Americans there as well.
Yeah, there were loads of Americans in Lisbon. I'm just going to move this up because my back hurts a bit. So, there you go.
Those horses attacking you.
Yep. Yeah.
That's one of the funny things when you leave is you realize it's not just English. I was having a chat with a guy the other day. I don't know what episode it is. And he's very good with languages. And he traveled all over, South America. And he's like, man, it's might as well be different languages going from Peru to Colombia to Ecuador. And it's just, and then I hear a Mexican speak and it's just crazy how different it is. And English, the funny thing is, I love how the more you travel, the less you actually prepare to travel. Because the more you're like, I want excitement. I don't need to know that much. And so you actually plan less, cause more problems for yourself, but have more fun.
Oh,
because you're not scared.
Well, that's the thing. For Lisbon, I completely overplanned it because I was supposed to be going with ex-partner. So I had I'd still got it on my computer. I did like a little presentation with like itinerary for each day and everything. Sent it to him. Didn't get any reaction, hence why he is no more. And then threw that all out the window and just went. All right. But yeah, just threw it out the window and had I booked just the first night at home and was like, I'll see how it goes. If it's crap, I'll go to another hostel, and ended up staying there the whole time. It was the best.
That was your first night.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sorry I didn't give you a better welcoming. That day
I
that you were there.
I want to tell you that I was a hostel virgin, so.
Well, you actually had plans that day. I remember I tried to make plans with you. You had other plans at a Viewpoint. Yeah.
That's
okay. It might be a little bit foggy at this point. um, I forgot what I was going to say now. Oh, yeah. So when I arrived in Ireland, I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, they speak English. Why wouldn't they speak English? They are my
yeah.
ancestors. We like
Yeah, you
potatoes. We speak
Americans are all
English.
obsessed with being Irish, yeah.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I arrive and you're at the airport and I see this freaking elf language on all the signs above English. And I'm like,
Gaelic.
how much was I drinking in Scotland? Am I in the wrong country? Am I in
Did I
Thailand?
go?
Like, what the
Yeah,
hell is going on?
that's how
And
I
then
feel
I
every time I go
learned
to
about
Wales.
Gaelic.
Yeah.
I always forget if it's Gaelic or Gaelic because there's the one in Ireland, then there's the one in Scotland. One's Gaelic, one's Gaelic. It's an elf language. It's a legit elf language. It's hilarious. Nothing else sounds like it at all. It's their original language. Before they
Well,
had potatoes, they had Gaelic.
well, I can raise you one more. Have you ever been to Wales? Have you ever heard Welsh? Now that
Yes.
is a magical language. My old roommate is a fluent Welsh speaker, and she used to call her sister twice a week, and I would just sit there like, because when you see it on paper, it looks like Zulu, but when you hear it, it sounds like Elvish from Lord of the Rings, and you're just like, mad, mental. I literally just spent a weekend with her in Cardiff and had the best time. But yeah, I see the signs, and I'm like, they're
They're like this
wasters
long,
money
right?
because they're even bigger because they're going to put all the flipping letters in.
It's like no vowels, triple the consonants. You cannot read it at all.
It's not phonetic whatsoever.
I also, yeah, I had that experience as well. I had no idea. I was in London in a hostel there, my favorite hostel, and there were three girls in my room that were going to uni together. They did a weekend party there. We hit it off in the room, but we never hung out. And then one of the girls says, well, we got a house. Just come sleep on the couch. And I said, all right, I'll be there. So I show up a week later and then I hung out with them for 4 days. But yeah,
Oh,
zero
epic.
understanding that it was maybe similar to how you did it in Cardiff, but I had
Yeah.
zero understanding that there was a foreign language there, that English wasn't the first language. And yeah, it was awesome. But they were so nice. Everyone there was nice. There
Yeah,
was even
Welsh
this
people are
dude who,
amazing.
this guy wouldn't stop buying me drinks. And I told him, I said, listen, just so you know, like, I don't swing that way.
Great.
I have a high tolerance. I will accept your
Good
beer.
luck.
But we'll chat while I'm drinking the beer. But then I'm going back to the table. You know, I laid out all the rules. I didn't take advantage of
And
anyone.
he probably thought it was hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Oh,
I
brilliant.
got free beers. I met a bunch of people in the bar, had a great time. There were no bar fights there like they do in London.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. So you said your favorite hostel in London. Where is that? If you don't mind me asking. You don't
It's
have to
just,
divulge the name, but where is it?
I don't know if it's still there. It's just south, you know, COVID messed everything up.
Yeah,
It is just south of the park, Hyde Park.
Okay.
It's just south of Queensgate. It's right on the Queensgate
right.
Street. So it's in South Ken. That's what all the posh people say. South
Ooh.
Kensington. That. And,
Very cool.
well, no, I won't make that joke. But basically, no locals can afford to live there. And somehow they have a hostel where they had that had the whole building. And I forget the name of it, but that's exactly where it is. Look it up on a map. It used to be right there. And I was friends with the manager. I was friends with all the people who worked there. It was great. So, you know, you basically have your run of the place when you're friends with everyone and they know that you don't cause trouble. So I had a tremendous amount of fun there. So many
awesome.
amazing stories. And the pubs in London are so cute. You can compare
Yes.
other cities, but London pubs, expensive, yes, but cute beyond belief. I loved exploring them with little hidden gardens. And then every once in a while, you forget that the beer that they like sort of pull like this with the long handle has no carbonation and is warm. I forget what you call that.
Yeah. What do they call it? Craft beer, or whatever.
Sad beers. It has a stupid name.
Oh, that's amazing. I haven't been to London for ages. I've actually got a load of friends that work on the West End, and I went to go see one of them perform in a pantomime a few weeks ago. So I've got to
Sounds
try
fun.
and find a way to go and visit my theatre friends, my thespians in London. They are so fun. Thespian friends are the best.
You know,
They know how to
London,
party.
they do, and they have so much fun, and they don't mind sort of, I don't want to say living in the shit, but you know, they don't mind piling into an apartment
Yeah.
and all kind of coming together and
That's
having
what I
a
wanted
great
to
time.
say. Yeah, no, I agree with you. The one thing I really love about London and the UK in general is that on the outside, you can look at a building and it looks tiny, it looks narrow, it looks shit. And you think, oh my gosh, I've just traveled how long to get here? I've spent so much money. And then you walk in and it's like Hermione Granger's bag. It's like there's so much space inside. It's beautiful. It's well done. It's manicured within an inch of its life. And it's like quaint and perfect and everyone's happy and bubbly inside. And you're just like, whoa, transported to a whole new dimension. And that's one thing I really appreciate about the UK is that they know how to make a space function, despite what it looks like on the outside.
With that dark, dirty brick color.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why they have it.
Or the house is
What
like
do you-
falling down because of the freaking, old thing that they're protecting. What do they call them? Listed.
Yeah, something like that. What do you think about the two faucet system that they have? Hot water on one side, cold water on the other
I think
side,
it's
and they're
perfect.
separate taps.
Yeah, perfect. Because then you've got
What if you need
the
medium?
best. Well, then you just got to. But anyway, the best is the hot water in the UK literally comes out scalding. You could make a cup of tea with that shit. It is so hot.
So, tell me, do they have tea in South Africa? Do you guys have tea?
We do. It's called red bush tea, or if you're going to say it as a proper South
That
African,
sounds
it's
like-
rooibos. Rooibos tea.
Rooibos.
Yeah,
I think I like South Africa.
it's very
Rooibos
nice tea. It's quite sweet tea. It's very good, and it's perfect if you've got a sore throat. You got to have red bush tea with honey, and that will sort your sore throat out. But I've never been much of a hot drink drinker. I've only picked it up as of August last year when I decided to volunteer at 2 music festivals and ended up on a night shift and was like, I need coffee. So now I drink lattes every now and again, which arguably isn't really coffee, but it's better than before.
It's not. I feel like I've been banned from coffee shops because it's really hard to go back to America. And
The coffee
when
there
you
is
go
the
to all
crap.
these places that have just coffee culture,
Yeah.
it's like old man coffee culture. Like in Italy, the coffee culture is quite simple. It's an espresso. It is like that much espresso, which could launch a rocket to space. And as I was told in Sicily, John, you must go and order and drink, and then you leave. Don't stay. Why are you here?
No lounging. We must serve 20 more espressos. Piss off.
You pay €1, and then you come here, and you go to any one of these coffee shops. It doesn't matter what it is. There's that much coffee. There's no caffeine in it. There's that much milk, that much sugar, some whipped cream on top, a cherry, and
25 pumps
like
of some syrup.
and a voice recording that tells you you are loved. Fuck, it's coffee. I want it to kick me in the ass and wake me up. I was in Austin, Texas, and this guy in front of me, he orders a red eye, and I had ordered a coffee and double espresso, and then I just, dump it in and drink it, and he ordered the red eye, and it was, I think, $2 more than what I had ordered. I didn't know what the red eye was, so I asked him. I said, "Oh, hey, what's a red eye?" First of all, he looked at me like, "Why is this human talking to me? No one should talk to me at the
How
coffee
dare
shop."
he? Who does he think he is?
It's weird because when you're abroad, people like to talk to you. Then
Yeah.
you come home and everyone's like, "Why are you talking to me?" "Oh, fuck off. I'm curious. What's in your coffee cup?" I didn't say fuck off. I'm just getting excited. And they explained what it was.
You wanted
I
to.
was just, well, I was just like, "Okay, well, here's what I actually did that made him feel, I don't know, weird." He had his they said it was a coffee with a shot of espresso in it. And I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, well, why didn't you just buy them separately and save yourself $2 or whatever?" Something like that. And they just looked
Yeah.
at me like I was an alien. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. It sounded better in my head, but I just don't like the coffee culture in the US. It's ridiculous. Stop
No.
putting sugar in it. You're going to get your foot cut off from diabetes. Just drink some
To be
caffeine.
fair, I don't think the coffee culture in the UK is that much better. Everyone opts for a cup of tea, bleh, cup of piss.
Don't say that. You're going to get rounded up and kicked out of the
no,
country.
Not all of the Brits drink tea, but at the same time, like, oh, I just don't see the appeal.
What, by the way, I think I got that coffee story wrong. I think what I said is isn't your coffee just the same as ordering an espresso with water in it? That's what offended him.
Oops, yeah, that's probably just as bad as the previous thought.
Whatever.
But I agree
Anyway,
with you. That's what when I got back from traveling, should I say, my very brief trip to Lisbon. But equally, when I went to Miami by myself, I went to go see family, so it wasn't like I was traveling. But I just found, like, sitting in the airport, it's so much easier to talk to people. Like, oh, where are you going? Oh, that looks really fun. Or my gosh, where did you get that from? Where have you been? You know, it's so easy to talk to people, and then you get back to wherever, America, UK. And you're on the tube or whatever, and talking on the tube is a cardinal sin to start with. But yeah, you try and talk to anybody, engage with anyone, and the same thing as your experience in the coffee shop. They just look at you like you're crazy. Like, how dare you be friendly? And I just think everybody should be more open to conversations with random blonde girls in the Tesco on the side of the road. You know, why not?
She might stab me. Is this Glasgow?
Do I look like I might stab you? Come on, this is bubbly and friendly.
I feel like that's what a criminal would say. I'm bubbly and friendly. I come with tea and an umbrella for the rain. And
No, murder's not in my repertoire, I'm afraid.
But yeah, when you come home, that's one of the funny things. When you're abroad, first of all, you get to talk to everybody. You make friends immediately. The stories are ongoing. I mean, never ending. It's so exciting. You make the best friendships.
You learn so much as well about where people have been, where they're going, their advice. That it's just like whole new world. Google could never.
The jokes, they're just the miscommunications are hilarious. Ask a Spanish person or a French person to give you a beer on the beach. It's so fun because they can't say the difference between bitch and beach. So it's bitch and beach, bitch, beach, beer. Super difficult to say. Really funny when you're on like a coastal town and they're like, oh, John, come to the bitch with me. Come on, it's a really nice bitch. Nice and warm. Not too dry.
And you're like, perfect, just the way I like my bitches.
Well,
Oh dear.
bring some drinks. It'll be a nice bitch experience.
God. It'll be bitchin'.
Yes.
Man.
And the thing is that nobody is making fun of anyone. Everyone is just having a
No,
good-natured time.
that's what I loved as well. I think possibly my favorite part of the trip to Lisbon is the second to last day. We went to the beach. When I say we, people I just joined in spontaneously with. It was 2 Dutch people, a French girl, a Swedish guy, a Canadian guy, a guy from New York, a girl from Florida, myself, a South African Brit. I just like the whole world, and we'd literally met that day, and we spent the whole day on the beach together and had the best time. And it was just, and then after that, stayed in touch, and like every now and again comment on each other's Instagrams or whatever. But it's just so fun how you can, out of nowhere, spend a day doing something quite intimate with people from the other side of the planet, and you just get on. And why can't I make friends like that here? It's so
I
so
completely
weird.
agree. It's this weird 180 that happens when you're at home.
I think that's
And
why
yeah,
I
there's a
like
lot of
traveling.
reasons. Do what?
I think that's why I like traveling so much, because you can just be yourself and people take you at face value and embrace it and run with it.
I love it. Well, then why don't you just talk more about, because we need someone to actually focus on this. Talk what it was about, what it was like before I'm going to redo this, I'm going to get my thoughts right. I'm going to be a better
Kumbaya.
speaker, interviewer,
You can English. Go on. I believe you.
trip ranger, pirate. As a solo female traveler, tell us what it was like before you went and when you actually went. Like your feelings, obviously,
Okay.
and how it all turned out.
So I had traveled alone to see family on the other side of the planet prior to that as a young person. I had experience being in an airport alone, going on airplanes alone, you know, navigating the transport systems in a foreign language in a foreign country alone. Because previously I've relied on my parents. You know, dad got his little travel wallet, everyone passports were in there, we all suitcases, well, let's go. So then obviously when I was like 16 and all that, I learned how to do it alone. So I was quite confident in my ability to navigate my way around and find where I was going. The
That's a
insecurity,
really big hurdle.
yeah, that's a big hurdle for a lot of people. And the insecurity came in when I then had to face 5 days with no plan and not knowing anyone and trying to like figure out. I knew I was in a good spot because Lisbon had great reviews from what I'd seen online. And I was just so lucky that I landed in that hostel with a sort of like-minded people. But I think it would have been the same in any hostel. And just clicked straight away, fell straight into it. And I think it comes down to, I think, your inherent nature and your personality and being outgoing and bubbly and, you know, wanting to learn about people and wanting to engage. Because I know a lot of my friends would, A, not cope with the solo travel, navigating airports and all of that without somebody to hold their hand, and B, being able to just take that step and break the ice and talk to people and make friends. And even if you have a 10-minute conversation with someone and you're like, okay, this person's not giving, like, I'm just going to find a way to waft off and talk to somebody else, or it doesn't matter because you probably never see them again. But then the people that you do get on with, you want to see them again. And I think that's the difference. So that's what I really enjoyed, was that then when I came back home and I'd had this amazing experience where I'd just been able to talk to anyone and everyone, it gave me so much more confidence in my everyday jobs and life to just not care so much and not put so much pressure on it all, because I knew that the world was bigger. There were more people out there and this really didn't matter that much because it's always an option. And I think that's what, when you say, oh, someone's so narrow-minded or they need more perspective, they should go solo traveling. Because that'll sort them right out.
Yeah, it
That's
shows
my
you.
take on it.
I think that's perfect. I mean, it's one of those things you could talk about forever, but at the end of the day, make the first step. It is very scary at first, and then you learn that it's not. And then you feel like you have superpowers.
Yeah,
And
literally.
once you start, then you realize how free you are. You don't have to wait on anyone. You don't have to ask
Yes, that
for
too.
any permission or anything. You just go. And at the
Yeah,
end of
and you can
those
just
few
do whatever.
days, you figure out where you want to go next. Maybe you go with some people that you had a great time with, and then you just go there and continue your journey. And it's just a truly beautiful experience and a beautiful time. And my
Yeah.
first solo travel, go on.
No, carry on. Sorry, I was just agreeing.
Oh yeah, with something with this delay, with this amazing software that costs more than it should, we can't talk at the same time, or we
No.
can't hear each other. And there's a 1 second delay, so that makes it great. The first time I did it, I just couldn't get people to travel with me.
Yeah.
I asked all my friends to go with me. I asked any family members to go with me. And it was always something. Timing, or don't want to go, or no money to
Money.
go. Americans think, yeah. Americans think traveling is really expensive because we just do it wrong. It's expensive to get yourself there because the plane from the US is super, super, super expensive. Something's weird with our plane system. And then once you get to Europe, it's super affordable to travel around and you stay in hostels. It's amazing. So I couldn't get anyone to go with me. I was so upset, but I was scared. So I eased my way into it. I stayed with my aunt, who was the head of a convent of nuns in Rome. So my first
Wow.
2 weeks, I was in this huge
In
house.
a convent.
Yeah, with a bunch of nuns.
Oh my
And
gosh. That's
I'm
amazing.
the only guy there, and they don't have kids or anything, and they
Yeah.
don't get that many guys that come around, and they're happy to
And what
see
do you talk to
guests,
them
and
about?
they are just so. John, can I get you this, and can I help you, and all
And you
these
were
old little
like,
ladies from.
yes.
It felt awesome,
That's so
and
cool. What a
they were
start.
so they were so lovely, and I mean, these people are from countries you've never heard, and the stuff that they have
Yeah.
done. I mean, it makes any one of these adventurers on TV look like a kindergartner.
Yeah.
These old ladies have just seen and done things in the craziest of places during war times, helping out the doctors with limbs that have been sliced off and putting people back together and holding bloody organs and the diseases. And just, I feel like half of them have had dengue fever, and you see them and they just look like these little innocent old ladies. And they're like, you have
You'd
no
never
idea
know.
what we've been through.
Yeah. That actually
Um,
reminds me, when I was in Mauritius recently, beginning of December, it was like a reunion. I met up with my best friend after not seeing her for 2 years, and we spent 10 days exploring the island. I luckily got to stay at one of her friend's apartments, so we were very fortunate that we didn't have to pay for accommodation. But it was 50 Mauritian rupees to £1, so I lived like a bloody royal. It was amazing. But anyways, on the way out, my flight was 6 hours after their flight because they were going from Port Louis to Johannesburg, whereas I was going Port Louis to Gatwick.
oh,
So
wow.
different times for international flights. And I just remember I had to say goodbye to them in the airport, and I was crying my eyes out, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss you so much." Big goodbye, big hug. And then I was sat there at the cafe by myself, and I just couldn't stop crying. It was just like coming out of every hole. I know it only comes out there, but it felt like it was coming out of every hole. And this gorgeous little old lady with a massive cross on her neck comes up to me, and I think, oh, I'm about to be evangelized. Here we go. In my deepest moment, she's going to hit me with Christ. No, came and sat down, held my hand, doesn't speak a word about the Lord or the Bible or Jesus or anything. Just spoke to me, told me about her stories, how she was living in Mauritius, but she'd lived and worked all over the show, and how she'd married a pirate. Pirate? I'm just looking at a pirate. She'd married a pilot and had been everywhere and was like this amazing life story. And then she went, oh, my friend should be here now. I hope I've made your day better. Blessed be God, or whatever she said. A big hug. And off she went. Didn't know her name. I was so engrossed in my own emotions that I didn't think to actually ask any personal questions. We were just exchanging life stories, which distracted me and stopped me crying and made me happy and made me laugh. And then off she went. And I was like, you know what? Amen. A bloody men. And that was just like such a sweet moment in the airport. And you just don't get that here. You don't get it back home, do you?
I'll have what she's having.
Literally. Jesus.
That's an ad. We're going to make it Jesus alcohol. This is the wine that they serve at church with the sacristy. Oh, I forgot the word. I'm so sorry. And we'll brand it.
Well, we can just say was water. We'll call it was water.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
That'll be the
water.
best wine brand in the world.
All right.
Was water.
Let's patent
Jesus.
that before this episode gets out. Start up a little winery.
Yeah, we're going to have to stick some contracting on that ASAP.
The people who are like that show you how beautiful the world can be.
Yeah.
And you need to encounter people like that, I think, to really understand how beautiful it can be. Because I think sometimes we live so much in the West in our own weird little super privileged bubble.
Yeah.
Even if our neighbors have more than us, I can guarantee you that we have more than the vast majority of the world, like 99% of the world. I'm on this thing about dryers, by the way. Do you have a dryer?
No.
Clothes dryer?
too expensive to run it in this country, so we just put the heating on and dry our clothes inside.
That sounds way more expensive. A. B. Anyway,
We're
I
warmer
want to think
then.
about. I want to think of. Just clean them before you put them on the heater. My worst,
Yeah,
my worst hostel story. I have to tell this now.
go on.
My was water is kicking in. I'm in Dublin. I'm in that big hostel. This isn't specific to then. It's just that it was cold. So they didn't let you open the windows because it's really cold outside and you'll freeze to death. So all the windows are locked and the heaters are turned on.
Mm.
And some long-term traveler, after walking around that tiny little city for 6 or 7 hours, I don't even know how you do that. I think you end up in London after 7 hours. You've swam the channel, whatever the hell, and walked to London 7 hours. He put his socks on the radiator in our 12-bed dorm where we couldn't open the windows because they've been locked and there's no ventilation.
That's so
And here's how it
inconsiderate.
goes. You swipe your card. You just had a great time with people from around the world. Bunch of French people teaching you how to say asshole in French because they think it's funny when you say it. And it means nothing to you. So you're just like, ça va, trou de cou? Sounds like what a parrot would say. And they're laughing their asses off. So everyone has fun.
Oh my
And
gosh.
swipe your card, open the door, and you're just hit in the face.
And it's
Like
chewy.
a rhino from South Africa, right in the face. A hyena fart. I'm trying to localize it for you so you'll understand.
I don't think I've ever smelt a hyena fart, so that might be slightly difficult to contextualize.
I imagine it's pretty horrible. So, or it's like cherries. So, anyway, it takes 15 seconds to get used to it. And those 15 seconds are the toughest 15 seconds of your entire day, month, maybe even year. Even worse than paying taxes, if I say so myself.
I had
Anyway,
some
that's my
experience.
worst.
Yeah. So I had a similar experience. I was staying in a hostel in Miami, and because my
Did you get
uncle and
robbed
auntie,
by Pablo
no,
Escobar? Sorry, go on.
no, my uncle and auntie originally didn't have space for my best friend and I, so we were like, cool, we'll just stay in a hostel in Miami. And then after this horror story, they were like, you can sleep on the couch. Anyway, so we get into the hostel. It's really clean. It's really nice. It's run by a little Venezuelan
dealer?
lady. So, no. All like good reviews. Really, everything's totally fine. Not the stuff at all. Get into our. It's a 4-bedroom, four bed dorm. So 2 bunk bed, and girls only because we were kind of like, oh, Miami. Or anyway, so we get into the room and it's really dark and we can tell someone's sleeping and it was quite late and we were like, cool. So we just plugged our phones in, got into bed, like didn't think much of it. 2 a.m. lights are on. And what time did we get there? We got there at about 11. Yeah, it was after dinner. 2 a.m. lights go on and this girl is sat there wrapped up in bandages, right? And she's like on the phone to some dude and she's like having a full on like sexual conversation with this guy with her bandages. And we're just like, both my best friend and I woke up and we were like, what the hell is going on? And then she finishes her sexual conversation and then opens a bag of cheese Doritos and start shoving them down her gob. And then just leaves the bag,
In a sexual
whatever,
way?
lights off, goes back to bed. No, not sexual that time. And the next morning, the whole room, I mean, obviously, like, we then just rolled over and went back to sleep because we were pretty drunk and tired. Didn't really care. The next morning, we wake up and it just smells like cheesy Doritos. And then she sat up in her bed and she goes, oh, yeah, my sponsor paid for me to come and get a boob job in Miami, but he said that I couldn't have a fancy hotel, so he paid me to stay in this hostel. So yeah, these boobies are for him. And that phone call that you heard last night, that was him. So sorry, but also like not sorry. And we were like, so then we basically got back to my uncle and auntie's house, told them the story, and they were like, you can sleep on the couch.
I love it. These boobies are for him.
And we were just like,
Wait a minute. Alex, I'm going to send you to
Pirate.
another country to get a boob job. It's going to cost like
I don't need a boob job.
$15,000. But
I
listen,
don't need a boot job.
no, you
Jesus
don't need a
left
boob
me.
job. This wasn't about you. This wasn't about you. I'm maintaining eye contact in the camera where I can't see you.
Oh,
But
gosh.
listen, it'll cost 15 grand. Okay, sugar baby? But you're going to have to stay in a dorm room. After they cut you up, you're going to have to recover alone in a
bunk
dorm
bed.
room in Miami.
That's what we didn't understand. We were like, this is got to be the worst sugar daddy in the world. Like, he's paid for her flight and her boob job, but he put her up in a hostel. Like, what?
Because he's only paying top dollar for what he wants. He doesn't care how she is.
She might die of some disease. It's fine. But
As
as I said, the
long
hostel
as
was
those
actually very
boobies
clean.
return. I paid for them.
Oh, it was such a weird story. And that was my first ever experience of a hostel, but I was with my best friend. So actually, my first experience was Lisbon because I was alone. So, and it was a real one.
That's a great first experience. Cheers to that first experience. We got to start
Cheers.
cataloging people's first experiences. I love that. These are his boobies. Nobody stabbed me, but sorry about having phone sex while you were sleeping.
And would you like a Dorito? Oh my gosh. So, Pirate, I have to ask, where are we going this year?
That's interesting.
Where are we
Mauritius, by the way. You really...
Yeah, I want to go back.
That was a pleasant surprise. I love seeing that. I don't usually see places that... This will sound a bit arrogant, but I don't usually see places I haven't been, but that are so exotic and amazing. And
it's the best,
that was cool.
honestly. I can't sell it more.
Well, Mr. Pirate was looking for a new crew. His old crew is gone. And he's free to sail wherever he wants now.
You're not tied down anymore.
No, the moorings have been released, my dear. That's great. That's probably going to sound creepy later.
Yeah. He stole a ship and he's
good. I didn't get to have dinner yet. It's the middle of the day for me. These are my lunch drinks.
Is it lunch? What time is it there?
Oh, what time is it? 3:30 p.m.
Oh, it's up 9 here. I'm just going to pull my charger up because I've just realized my laptop's looking poor.
Yes, ma'am. Do that.
I've come prepared.
Don't hurt your back.
It's all right.
Do you have a horse? You have a cute, like,
what was that?
Children's horse on your shirt.
No,
and then you have the skull of a horse behind you.
Yes. Skull.
Did you hear that?
Rolling.
And cute horse on your shirt. You've got like every type of horse dynamic going on.
It says Wicked. And it's a My Little Pony.
I love it. And My Little Pony better behave.
And then I don't know if
there's going to be another skull on that wall.
And so there's...
Are those all your drawings?
There's more horses. No, those were commissioned by actual artists. And then there's butterflies on the wall there from Peru. And then there's a little wooden Africa there that I got from a market in Cape Town.
Cool.
So that's about it. I haven't really, I've only just moved into this room, so the decorating hasn't completed yet.
I caught this fish in the Amazon.
Really?
And I caught this ghost in Salem when I was living in Boston. They just followed me here, actually. I didn't even have to pack them. Yeah. That's not even painted. That's it's alive.
That is that's huge. No wonder you brought it from the Amazon with you. I would have too. Right, answer my question. We're going to Mauritius and then where else? Where are we going? Are we going to Europe again? Are you coming to Europe?
I would like to have some excitement, you know. I did want to come and visit you, but into the summer was, But that's done. Where would I like to go? Could I talk about somewhere I'd like to go that I haven't been?
Yeah, sure.
I really, and I almost did this, but I'm glad I centered myself a little bit. I kind of want to I want to go to Lesotho.
Lesotho.
Lesotho. Lesotho. Don't know if it's a
Yes.
country or a
Don't
city.
say it like that. Don't say it like that. Lesotho is a very small landlocked country within South Africa, and it is very cool. There's lots of hiking. Lots of hiking.
Really?
Beautiful mountains.
That is
I love
so
drugs.
cool.
So I can tell you a
Well-
brilliant story about Lesotho.
Please.
Do you want to hear it? Okay, so
Yes.
in grade 10, so when I was 16, we had this tradition at our school where we did a thing called Inuka, which was a week's worth of hiking and camping on the Drakensberg Mountains, which run through Lesotho. And there's all these different paths that you can go up and down. So we went up a path called Rockery, went down a path called Imweni, and going up, I was flying, having the best time ever, totally fine, going up and down several times, pick up my friend's bag, take them up to the next point, go back down, picking it, and my mates were like, this girl's crazy. Summited, amazing. That night, we're all super tired because we've been going up. I think it took us like 2.5, maybe 3 days. Get to the top, exhausted. We're 16. We're being dramatic. Oh, I'm with mummy. And we'll go to bed quite early. And we're being wet wipes, really. And at I don't even know what time it was exactly, but somewhere in the early morning hours of the morning, we hear these bells, sort of like cowbells. And we're like, what the hell? So we stick our heads outside the tent, and I'm not even joking, 200 donkeys going past our campsite with a load of shepherds, and they've all got these big white sacks over them, strapped to them. And we're like, what the hell? And then our camp guide is like, get back in your tents, close your tent, get back in your tent. And we're like, okay, now we really want to know. Anyways, now we're all super
Yeah.
awake and wired. Then we start telling each other scary stories. Ooh. Anyways, then we get woken up at the butt crack of dawn because we have to then set off to go down again to go back to the base camp. Anyways, we now haggling our guide, like, what were those donkeys? What were they carrying? Where were they going? Blah, blah. Eventually, at lunchtime the next day, he cracks and he goes, okay, I'm only going to tell you this once and I don't want any more questions. Those donkeys are weed donkeys. They are carrying bags full of weed. And the reason why you had to go back inside is because if you start entertaining with the shepherd, like talking to the shepherd and whatever, they'll just steal stuff and like rob you and whatever. And they might be scared that you'll steal their donkeys. So all of this stuff. And we're like 16, naive and terrified. And we're thinking, this is amazing. We want to see these weed donkeys again now. So anyways, that's when I learned about the illegal moving of weed between Lesotho and South Africa.
The donkey.
Back in the day when it was illegal,
railroad.
now it's legal. So I don't know if the
No more
donkeys still have purpose.
Oh,
I don't
what are the
know.
donkeys doing
they
now?
could be. They could still be there and they could be very legal now. So they probably still have a job.
I think I actually know what the donkeys are doing now because my story, oddly enough, has to do with donkeys in Lesotho, which is apparently they're like big dogs, and you can get miniature ones.
I look after miniature ones. There's one of the yards I
think
go
we
to.
had
One of
this
my clients
conversation, and I'm so
has mini
jealous.
donkeys. They're so cute.
All right, I
They're
want a
Italian as
selfie
well.
of you with that mini donkey next time you see it. You probably already sent one, but send me another one because it'll just make me happy.
I think I'm going there next week, so I will.
So the reason when you travel at first, you're like, I want to go to the Louvre or the Arc de Triomphe or Champs-Élysées. I'm obviously using Paris. Everybody knows Paris. I'm going to go to Big Ben. Overrated. By the way, I almost got in a fight with a group of gypsies on the bridge next to Big Ben. That was a funny one because I was dressed up like an American colonial soldier and they were doing the card game and I had my camera out and I was lit because it was July 4th in London. So I dressed up like an American revolutionary soldier in London. It was too funny.
As you
None
do.
of the Brits knew who I was though because, you know, we're just another colony they lost. But and I was a lot bigger than I am now and fatter. So like way bigger. And because I was blah, blah, blah. And I'm watching them do the card game and I'm making a video and I'm just like, oh, hey, yeah, blah, 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 blah. So look, he's actually going to cheat them and she works with them and she works with them. And there's only 2 people that they're trying to scam out of like the 10 people who are there. They're just pretending. And so I was telling him that. And I was with my friend who is also not the smallest person. And the problem with that is it makes you feel a little bit secure sometimes. But then also,
Yeah.
you're in central London. You're in central London. You're next to Big Ben. You know what's connected to Big Ben? The Parliament. You know what you shouldn't have to do next to Big Ben is fear that a bunch of gypsies are going to attack you. So anyway, we got into a little bit of an altercation. Everybody survived. We continued. They did not scam that rather large man who looked like a very fun fella to have a beer with in a pub. So I'm proud to say I saved at least one person.
Him.
Saved that one person. How did I get... Oh my gosh, I'm like 5 steps removed from what I wanted to say.
I want you to tell me about donkeys.
It's just so fun. Okay. I'm in the Galapagos Island and I meet this guy. And the people who have traveled the most interesting people, they're very quiet. You have to sort of pry things out of them because everything is so normal to them now.
I see.
So it's like, oh, you saw a shark? You're like, oh, I fed a bunch of sharks. I lost my pinky to feeding sharks. Like, big deal. Feed a hyena. Feed a lion naked. You know, they're not arrogant about it.
They've done it all.
So I meet this guy who is from East Asia, and usually East Asians are not traveling a bunch solo. But when they do, they are epic. This dude had been everywhere, and I'm getting story after story after story out of him. And the one that really stuck was the Lesotho story.
Yeah.
Never even heard of this place before. But I love pub crawls for all the reasons we talked before about meeting people. And he said, you know what? I got a good story from Lesotho. It was a pub crawl where everybody gets their own donkey.
Oh, this
and
sounds
I said,
perfect.
What? He goes, yeah, you start the pub crawl. You get a donkey. So you get on your donkey. Everybody gets on their donkey. And they go to the first pub. Park your donkeys. Then you get back on the donkey. You go to the second pub. You just get totally
They're probably the same
pissed.
donkeys. They're probably the same donkeys. That's their other job.
That's what the drug donkeys had to do when everyone took their jobs by legalizing marijuana.
Oh my gosh. I've heard of that actually. I think it's a tree called the Donkey Mile. Or something like that.
Oh. So it's a real thing.
I think so. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure actually. I wasn't sure if it was Lesotho or if it was in South Africa, but if they probably copied it and doing it in both.
Well, I love it. So what I was saying sort of about when you go for the Louvre or the Arc de Triomphe or somewhere, you're going for these big things that are supposed to kind of change your life or whatever. And then you realize it's a building with some bricks and the architects were amazing and that's cool. And I love my architect friends. Got a great one in Thessaloniki. She's amazing. One of the funniest people you've ever met. But you're like, okay, how many churches can I see in Rome? Okay, how many paintings can I see in the Louvre? I didn't even go to the French section. I did the Louvre in 3.5 hours, by the way. Very proud of that. Saw it all. Sculpture section's amazing.
I did half of the Louvre in 2 hours.
Back then. 2 hours.
We
should get tipsy and do the Louvre together.
Yeah.
I love tipsy arting.
I agree.
Sense?
Have you ever been to a museum or an exhibition a bit lit? That's quite fun. Would recommend.
It's epic, especially the big
like
water
the space
scenes.
museum, or if you go to the space museum, or the air museum, or the natural history museum, and you're like, great.
The Natural History Museum in London is actually pretty cool. It's right near the hostel I was at. Yeah.
Very, very cool.
It is properly cool.
I made a mistake though. I decided to go in there in summer when there's no aircon. I only made it through 3 sections and then was like, I'm out.
Don't ever tell anyone you're from Africa.
Well, the thing is, we have aircon in Africa.
Well, the rich dude that donate.
Yeah, true. When you're standing there looking at a skeleton and you've got like sweat coming down your face, it's just not the one.
Well, apparently, we should go back in time and tell that rich guy that donated it, bro, next time make some space for air conditioning. Okay, we're going to invent it in a couple hundred years.
They've got heating, but they haven't got the unit that can do both. So we
Oh,
just
I did go to a drinking event there, actually. London really is cool. London really is cool. It really is fun. It costs quite a bit of money to
It's
enjoy yourself
expensive,
on the
but it's
regular.
worth it.
But, yeah.
I love having
It's
a
just-
city break. Oh, the best.
Yeah, I think you need both. And also London is not as crazy congested as a lot of capital or big cities are.
Yeah.
It's not as crazy as downtown New York or any of these other massive cities, Tokyo,
But I think
South Seoul,
also
and
'cause
South Korea.
London-
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think London's transport system is so good. Those buses, trains, you could get a bloody electric Lime bike now. Like, it's so easy to get around. And it's quite big. Even though everything's on top of each other, it is still a big city. So,
But they
No,
have a
but
lot
so
of
do you
parks
know-
everywhere.
yeah, a lot of green spaces. Do you know, it's only a 45-minute train ride from where I live to get to
Really?
London
You're
Waterloo.
trying to sell me on it. Hey,
To London
you know,
Waterloo, 45 minutes. Bosh. In town.
I do love me a London. Okay, I want to finish this point.
Okay.
When you first start traveling, it's these big grandiose things that everybody knows about that you want to go and see, and they are cool. But what I have found is you don't need a big reason to travel. You don't need to travel. If you like this museum, that shouldn't be my reason to go there. That's your reason to go there. You want to see the Arc de Triomphe, you want to do all that, yeah. But whatever you're passionate about, whatever excites you, if you go there to do that, that's going to make the trip so much more interesting, even if it's so small as a donkey pub crawl in Lesotho, Africa. I'm sure there's amazing things to do there. Other than that, like do the mountain hike. But I'm super excited for this one thing. And as long as you are driven, at least I find that to be so exciting. You see some people who are going somewhere for to do smaller things, like bird watching in one place or something like that, and they're so excited by it. And it's really great to see them do that from the outside. And then when you're doing it from the inside, it's like, I'm motivated. I'm not only going here because I'm supposed to. Like, I'm supposed to go to Paris, and then I'm depressed because I got robbed. No, I want to go and
Typical.
see some skulls underground.
Oh,
Maybe
I
have
don't
a
want
little
to ever
bit of
do
fun
that.
down there. Then hit up the Rodin Outdoor Museum that used to be €2 to get into. Have a few drinks south of the Seine. Have a nice time. Work your way up if you can make it, going from bakery to bakery, having a fun time. It doesn't have to be some standard thing. It's whatever makes you
Yeah.
happy.
I think that's
do it.
the fun thing about solo travel is that you go there with a vague idea of what you want to see and do, but you're so adaptable. You're so open to influence. There's no like pressure to stick to it. And then if you've got the time and the money, you can just go to the next country or just follow a group of people there. And I think that's what is so enticing about it, because all the family holidays I've been on, it's to see family or to go to Disneyland or to do XYZ within we're only there for 2 weeks, so we have to. So that's where I think I loved this freedom of solo travel, that you can do whatever, whenever, however. Obviously, you might be restricted by budget or time frame if you're not traveling for 6 weeks or whatever the story is. And I think that's what really, like, my post-Lisbon depression was insane. Like,
Aw.
I wanted to go to Porto. I wanted to go to Lago. I then wanted to go to Seville. Like, everyone I spoke to, I just wanted to keep going. I didn't want to go home because I was so sucked into that whole world of doing whatever you could to see all these amazing little off the beaten track places and unique experiences that typical tourism would never give you. And I think that's why I was like, so like, I don't want to go back to soggy England. I want to go to Seville. I get that.
I was there right before Lisbon, and I love the south of Spain. It's everything that you want it to be. And the moment that people know that you genuinely, this is not just south of Spain, but it's kind of part of what you're saying, which is like getting out of the big cities as well and following travelers. So getting your family, you get a travel family.
Oh,
And
yeah.
travel family is the most amazing thing ever, because then all the stress isn't on your shoulders. And when everyone's sort of like-minded, you do whatever the most passionate person in the group wants to do that day, but in a way where it's amenable and friendly. It's not like, oh, I don't want to do that. It's like, I actually had no plan today, and you're so excited by that. Now I'm excited by that. Now I'm going to go and hang out with everyone. And day drinking is a thing. And and when you show an interest in people's culture, they're so happy to help you experience it. Like when I went to smaller cities in France, they're so happy, even with my horrible, amazing, if I do say so myself, French, talk with me about all the cheese in the fromagerie. And I'm like, oh, but what is this? And what is this? And once they see my smile and that I'm genuine, they give me tastes of everything. And then I come out with like this one tiny little thing of cheese, but I had 20 tastes. But it was such a great experience because I'm like, I want your cheese, brother. I don't want factory cheese. And like that was, I love those experiences.
Love it. That's why I just want to go and do more. I'm actually thinking of taking a break from the horses. I'm in the process of like leasing my horse out to another young rider, and then I've changed careers as well. I've gone into event management because I really love music festivals. I love gigs. I love helping people. I volunteered for a charity called Oxfam at 2 music festivals last year. Loved it. It was so cool to see everything from the behind the scenes perspective, like the logistics, operations, all of that was so cool. And now because of that, I've got priority to work as a steward at Glastonbury this year. So I'm super excited for that. Gonna do Glastonbury. And then, I want to go and do international festivals as well. So that's another part of my, like, I need to put the horses in a little box for a bit, go and experience, travel, scratch that itch that is, like, gnawing away at me, and then maybe come back to the horses because they're not going anywhere. You can ride until you're, like, 70 these days. So, I just feel like I'm running out of time to see the world.
Where are you most interested in going? I love that the place I said I wanted to go to, you're like, so I hiked there when I was 16, saw a bunch of weed donkeys.
It's all about balance. Different lives, you know. I really want to see more of Europe because I feel like it's so close by, and I've only done Europe from a sporting competition perspective. So I've not, I've had a horse in tow and I've gone there to compete. So I've not been able to see things. I've seen the countryside and the highway, but so I'd love to do more of Europe, specifically the Med. So like Italy, Croatia, Greece, Turkey, all of that along there. I've not done ever, and I want to do it. And then obviously more of Spain and Portugal. And then I love skiing as well. I'm going skiing in the first week of Feb, so I would love to go and work a ski season at some point, whether it's in Europe or Canada. That would be amazing, either as a chalet girl or a ski instructor. So that's also in the pipeline for things to do before I settle down into a real life. And then I would love to go and do more of America, North America specifically. I'd love to see Arizona, Wyoming, Utah, Montana, all of that sort of. I may have been slightly inspired by Yellowstone, but I'd love to go and see the West Coast and all of that and work on a ranch. And then the other one, Australia. I think Australia would be sick. I know it just seems to be the it thing. Everybody's going to Oz, but sorry if I want to be part of that too. So those are the main three: Europe, North America, Australia. There's a lot, not a lot of money. So
we could do a whole episode actually, and I'd like to do that at some point with a few different people to show people how you can travel economically and pay almost nothing once you arrive somewhere. Because there are people who travel for years and years by volunteering in places. I'd love to just
disappear, work there for 3 months, work there for 3 months, maybe do a bit there 2 months, go and do a season in the Alps, or, just do that for like 2-3 years and then figure out what I'm doing. Work at a festival, do a project here, do that project there, everywhere. I need to see the world, live all over the show. I love living out of a bag, so that's fine by me.
Sold. I'll take it.
What about you, Pirate?
I love
You
it.
said you want to go to Lesotho. Where else do you want to go?
So remember, I'm all about just find a tiny little reason to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I
What are your
met
tiny
a
reasons?
funny gal from Uganda when I was in the Bear Hostel in Singapore. So now I want to go to
Okay.
Uganda.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Why not? Is there a better reason to go
Absolutely.
somewhere? I'm tired of just seeing bricks. I saw some cool person. Let's go there and let's see what happens.
Well, if they're cool, there must be a reason why they're cool, especially if it's like their culture. So, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to go and see Tanzania and Kenya as well. I feel like I misrepresent the African continent because I haven't experienced. South Africa's quite manufactured in terms of its safaris and because it's all protected and saves the animals from poaching. Whereas Tanzania and Kenya are proper wild Africa. And
Really?
I've got loads of friends that have volunteered out there, work there. It just looks insane. So I think that would be something I would do with a group of friends who haven't done Africa at all, rather than
All
by
right, well,
myself.
I'm a friend. And put me in that group.
There's at least 3 other people, so 5's the party.
Perfect.
We just
I
have
want
to
to do that.
rob a
I
bank
want to
and
see
then
the
we can
real
go.
deal. I want to see the real deal. I'm terrified of settling down into a normal life.
Same.
Um,
That's kind of what I have at the
and,
moment, and I hate it.
right?
It's so boring.
Because then you get into a bit of an existential crisis. Like, what is life about? What's most important while we're
Yeah.
here? We have no idea what comes after.
Am I happy doing this for the rest of my life? No.
Do I really want to be a lead accountant? And okay, my car might be a little bit nicer, but I get
Do I really
2
want to
weeks
buy a
vac-
house? No.
I mean, here's actually what I was thinking about my living situation going forward. If because I would like to own something where I live at some point. I say something because there's it could be an apartment, could be a house or something.
Yeah.
And I would love to have roommates who have experienced the world like I have. I mean, common experiences. That's why people like people that are from where they're from. Because when they say something, the other person can understand them so they can get along with them. And then the more that you travel, the more you remove yourself from where you're from and you put yourself in this weird little cloud that exists only with other people who have also put themselves in that cloud, but they don't all live in the same place. And then you're like, okay, do I want to go live in a house somewhere that feels more like a prison because I don't see anybody when I'm there?
Can you see my small dog?
Aw.
It have.
He's like, give me attention.
Sorry, she's just licking herself like crazy. Yeah, I totally get what
So
you're
I would
saying.
love
though.
to have.
The
go
more
on.
you travel, the more difficult it is to relate with people back home who haven't traveled. So I get that because then when you come back with this crazy perspective and all this excitement, and people are like, "That sounds expensive," or like, "Ugh," I'm like, "Go away." But yes, I also don't really like living alone, but I also don't want to have to sign up to generic norms of society and have to marry someone and all that crap. I'd rather have a house full of people that I love that we can share the costs and whatever. And that doesn't necessarily have to be in the UK. I'd love to live somewhere much warmer. But I totally agree with you. Like maybe even if someone's bought the house and then you rent it or you all buy it together, or, I just think that'd be sick. I totally agree.
I mean, I
Roommates
want
over.
to. I'd
Sorry.
like to have, if we're going to be all modern, a lifetime partner.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
I do not wish to be isolated the way that I feel like. Here's what I mean. Okay, I was visiting a friend in California. They'd been there for 20 years or more. They didn't know the name of their neighbors.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's mental.
Great. Great. That's so nice. I was in Albania in an apartment building in a place much less luxurious than that really nice home I was in. And after a week, the neighbor who spoke no English knew who I was. And we would always exchange pleasantries in my horrible Albanian. And it just felt so nice.
Yeah.
It felt great. Everyone knew who I was in that small little building after even 3 weeks or a month. And then you've been there 20 years? You don't know the name of your neighbors? What the shit?
Yeah, I
Like,
totally agree. It's all about
community.
a
Let's
sense of
build it.
community rather than isolated and adhering to societal expectations and standards of where you should be for this point in your life. Don't tell me what to do. I want to travel for the next 3 years.
And the balance is almost impossible. I've been truly, truly lucky. A lot of people ask me how I could do what I do. If you read some of the comments online of some videos I posted back years ago, they're so evil comments. I'm very lucky to be able to have been one of the original sort of work from home people. But if you have to make that choice, like you can't make money while you're traveling, and it's either or, it's really depressing
Yeah.
because once you come home, all of it stops.
Yeah.
And it is so hard to be able to do it again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically I come home, work my ass off so I can afford the next trip. Come home,
You
work
find
my
it
ass off so
hard
I can afford the
to.
next trip. And it's the worst.
Where did you go to uni?
I went straight out of school in South Africa and did my undergraduate at a university in Pretoria, literally called University of Pretoria, but we know it as
Cool.
TAPS, the old Transvaal University, back in the apartheid day. And then I did a master's diploma through King's College London in
I think I
psychology.
went to that college.
Yeah, and then now I'm using a company called Event Crowd to help me learn about event management. So, yeah.
So that's another thing. You did sort of a version of what I did, although a little bit bigger. You were here on the globe,
Mm.
and then you went here, and now you're here. And when you go to all those different places, and then you go to a city where people are just from that city, which is at almost every city in the world. That's how it works, unless it's the London, basically, of the city, of the country. I don't find myself rejecting anybody that I talk to, but they kind of reject me. Like when I tell people that I've been to Paris, they immediately think I'm some super posh, whatever the hell rich person. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, when I first got there, it was like a $12 a night hostel in Chinatown. I mean, I ate those bread things that had meat in them were 90 cents. You know,
Oh
we
my
couldn't even
gosh.
afford the French food when I went, but they've automatically sort of written me off as a person to interact with. And I never forget when that happened. I was still smoking at the time. I was outside of a bar, and anyway, I'm not going to say which one it was, but it just sucked. That's when I was like,
Yeah.
who do I talk to? Who am I? Where do I belong?
Mm.
And yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
think
how we
that
really fix it.
yeah, that might be quite an American thing because I I don't know. I this might sound terrible, but when I
Go for
speak
it.
to people here, I don't think classism is as rife, or maybe it's just the people I associate with. But when you tell them where you've been traveling or where you want to go, they they have sort of their own travel stories to share. They're
Mm.
excited for you. They have suggestions, but I've yet to come across somebody that looks at me like I'm some posh twat that has too much money and spends too much time on an airplane. But that might just be the British mentality. I don't know.
Well, what you have to realize is that anytime you plan on flying from the US to Europe and back, for the most part, not when you get lucky, not those idiots selling shit online, you're paying $1,000. And
Yeah,
it's been that
it's
way
expensive.
for decades. Sometimes it's 1,200, 1,300, 1,400. Sometimes it's 350. I got really lucky when I flew from LA to Oslo and Oslo to Prague. They didn't even give you
Wow.
food. But the guy next to me took a bunch of Xanax and he had paid for the food, and his girlfriend gave me his food because he was passed out on Xanax.
Yes.
So I
Winner.
got the food.
Oh
But
my
the point
gosh.
is that it's really expensive to go.
Yeah.
And now, compound that with the fact that Americans, for the most part, maybe not the people who are watching this, all 25 of you beautiful people and mom, they think you can only stay in hotels.
Yeah. They don't know
So
about
that's
hostels.
100, 150 a night that they're thinking in their brain. So 2-week vacation, $2,000 to $5,000.
Plus,
You know, I mean,
America's so vast, so I think you probably all automatically think you've got to hire a car and all of that shit. Whereas Europe is just trains and buses and bikes, and it's so easy.
yeah, exactly. Genau. Yeah, so they just don't understand it. There's a big, the main thing is get your ass out of the US, then you can have your adventure. You're
Oh
really
yeah,
just saving up to get out. But because of that, and because there's not as many shared experiences, like from the UK, you guys have Ryanair since
yeah.
forever. You have EasyJet. You have Wizz Air.
EasyJet.
Oh my God. Every time I hear someone complain about that, I'm like, bro, you have the world's cheapest airlines in one of the most expensive regions to live in the world that can fly you across a continent for 20 or 30 euros one way.
Yep.
It is
It's amazing.
amazing.
I found a deal when I went to go visit my friend in Belfast. I found a deal, return tickets, £35. I was there for a week. Belfast. Okay, the flight back was on a Friday after a football match, so it was crazy, but it was a fun flight.
Man, someone
Yeah, it's
needs
great.
to do.
Some of the deals are mad. I go on to a Skyscanner and I'm like, should I? And then I'm like, no.
After my situation changed a few months back, I had that moment and I pop up Skyscanner and I was like, everywhere in the destination and just sort
Cheapest
by
flights, don't care.
price.
Yeah.
I was like, I could go some interesting places.
Yeah.
But
But in all
thankfully,
seriousness, are
Yeah.
you going to come back to Europe this year? Or the UK? Or anywhere close
this
by?
year, for
Yeah.
certain. When
Good.
is what I am trying to figure out exactly, because I'm honestly, all the things that we've been talking about are because, well, both of us are feeling them at the same time. And I'm feeling them very much. And I think that we're actually both in a very similar place right now on all of the things. And so I really want to be back in Europe. I think I need to spend 1 month in San Francisco for some networking, and I think I'm going to do that soon.
Yeah. We'll come back for summer. I mean, don't bother coming now. It's horrible. But come when it's warmer.
Oh yeah, I love when you guys cry about now. I saw some of your photos. It's -2, John. -2 Celsius.
It was very cold.
-2
Everything was
Celsius.
frozen.
It's hard to figure out what the temperature is because Fahrenheit and Celsius meet at -40, but 0 for you is 32 Fahrenheit for us. And then it kind of goes like that. So when you were -2 Celsius,
And I did a quick Google.
today it was 15 Fahrenheit, which in Celsius is probably -1 billion. That's
So-
Jeremy Clarkson math right there. He's my mentor for all things British, actually.
He's
and I just
perfect.
learned that I started saying boot and bonnet because of them.
Did you? Oh my God, that's so funny. So Google
And
has
Pillock.
told me, and just, oh my. So Google told me that -3 is 26.6 Fahrenheit. Is that
Oh
cold
my
in
God,
your
that's
mind?
warm. That's
Oh,
warm.
okay.
Um,
Oh dear.
no,
it's
yeah,
cold
that's pretty
for us.
cold. I didn't know that island got so cold. I thought our Gulf of soon-to-be America current warmed you guys up, so you
No, it
never
doesn't make it
got
that far.
frost.
Doesn't make it that far. No, we
Maybe it hits
I mean,
Ireland.
we have Arctic freezers that come in for like 4 or 5 days, and then it doesn't
Fucking
go
Norway.
above 0. Literally doesn't go above 0. Everything's frozen. I mean, we have. It's quite funny. You must Google this. We've got these trucks that are called grit trucks, and they will spray salt on the road so they don't freeze and people don't crash and whatever. But all of the grit
Whatever.
trucks in the UK have got different names. And the other day, I was driving behind Gritty Gritty Bang Bang. Do yourself a favor and
I
go
love
Google
it.
British grit truck names. You will die. It's so funny. They all have different names. They're brilliant. See, I was behind Gritty Gritty Bang Bang and I was like, no way.
Gritty gritty bang bang. That's so exciting.
This is what keeps me going in winter.
See, for us, we had a good snow for the first time in like 10 years. And so you could make snowmen. Snowballs
we had
were
that too.
amazing. It's great. I mean, I don't have anybody to enjoy them with now, but anyway.
Get your parents out.
I did. I told my dad. I told my dad to get a shovel, and I was just gonna like push him. I try to get them involved in any physical activity.
Yeah, good.
I forgot what I was gonna say. I did not know that it froze there.
Yeah. We had
in
some
Scotland,
snow in
it doesn't,
November,
though, does
actually.
it?
Yeah, it does.
What?
Scotland gets really cold. Scotland gets way cold. I'd say Scotland's like -8, sometimes -10.
Wow,
Yeah, very
I
cold
didn't
up
know
there.
that.
The further north you go, the colder. I'm technically south.
I thought
'Cause
that
I'm-
the water stopped it, though. I thought the water currents. That's what I thought.
I'm
Maybe
pretty
it's
sure
Ireland. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. No, okay, Ireland probably doesn't get as cold as Scotland, but Scotland's there, Ireland's there, so
Have you ever
pretty
met
cold.
anyone from Jersey?
no. But I had friends that went there for a holiday, and it looked really nice.
It's funny. It's a British territory, right?
Yeah.
It's just above France, and it's an island. The France was just like, I don't feel like fighting for these islands anymore. It's like
You could
2
have it.
inches away
Yeah.
from me, but fuck it.
Yeah.
So they speak English, and they're blonde
There's-
because
but
some
there's French
Vikings
side.
came down there at some point, and they're right next to France. I met one in Ecuador. I wonder if they get snow.
I don't think the island, no, and the coast doesn't really get snow either because I don't know what it is about the coast, but it's warmer there. I was in Wales over the weekend, and that was much warmer than it was back home. Yeah, so
Okay, so it's
drive.
it's the water.
Weird. Yeah. Maybe it's more inland then. What was I going to say? The
Yeah,
one
that makes
place I
sense. That's the water.
Yeah.
It's the water that keeps them warm because obviously if the water is liquid, it's not going too low.
Yeah. The one place I haven't been yet is the Isle of Wight. That looks really nice.
Why do you want to go there? Or no, maybe I'm thinking of Isle of Man. Is Isle of Wight with the cliffs like in Ireland?
Yeah. Well, when you go to the Isle of Wight, you can see the cliffs of Dover, I believe. Am I talking shit? Anyways, Isle of Wight, there's A, there's a music festival there, which I'd like to go to at some point. B,
You're
I've
like
heard
19
wonderful
again.
things. I know. I've heard really cool things about when you go over there. The beaches are really nice, the food's really nice, and you can like almost drive the whole sort of circumference of the island and see all the different views.
That's so
Obviously something to
cool.
do in summer, but loads of people that I've spoken to have been like, yeah, well, you can go and just rent an Airbnb and then stay there for a few days and drive around, and it's a nice place, something different, warm in summer, beaches. Sounds like a cool vibe.
What do you think? You can do that in Iceland, by the way. My friend.
Oh, I want to do Iceland so bad.
Why does everyone want to do Iceland? What excites you about Iceland?
I want to see the volcanic beaches, so the black beaches. I want to go and see, there's that salt bath, like salt thingy, hot spring salt thing. I don't know, everyone goes and swims and covers their face in salt and it like rejuvenates them, whatever. I want to go see that. I want to go see their hydroponic plants because apparently they're like pretty much off the grid. I think it'd be so cool to go and learn about how they are growing plants underground, recycling carbon dioxide, all that stuff. And then also just the landscape looks amazing. Looks really cool there. Plus, I think Icelandic culture is very different. So I think it'd be interesting to learn about that.
That's so cool. I love it. I love any place that's different. Everything you said is true. You should go. Oh my gosh, pardon me. Is this
Bless you,
microphone gonna
pirate.
I feel like you heard that.
I
Anyway,
heard it. I heard it from the depths of your soul. I heard it
thank you.
rumble.
I like you. I'm gonna keep you. Um, it's amazing. You got to go. Here's my favorite thing about it.
Uh-huh.
That place where you put the white stuff on your face, it's not salt, it's silica. So the same thing
Is
that
it?
was in your friend's sugar daddy's boobs that were attached to her body in the Miami hostel.
Uh-huh.
It's actually not exactly the same, but
Similar.
same-ish.
Ah,
One of you 25
sounds
people
good.
out there, correct me. I'm just setting the bar low. So if more than 25 people watch it, I'm happy. Um, so it's actually one of the original power plants of Iceland. Because
Oh,
Iceland is at a place, I think it's where the tectonic plates or something kind of push up. So you can get access to the mantle or something like that,
yeah,
superheated steam much more easily than anywhere else on Earth, except for somewhere in Africa, I think. So they drill down there and then they get the steam to come up and it powers their tiny little island of 300,000 or 400,000 people.
yeah.
And that was one of the first or the very first plant where they did that, but they couldn't pump the water back underground at that point. The new ones pump the water back underground. So
Ah.
that one made a lagoon that has turned into a spa. So the spa is legit power plant runoff. And that's my favorite thing.
Toxic waste spa. Love it.
Yeah, I just love that. I mean, I did it. It's awesome. But to
Yeah.
learn later is like, it's power plant runoff, baby. You're going to glow at night.
I'm gonna feel like Harley Quinn when she gets pushed into the acid and then comes out with like crazy hair. That'll be perfect.
You need to bring a little baseball bat with you.
Yeah. And
What do you
some
think about
fishnet stockings.
Cyprus?
About
Yeah,
Cyprus?
okay. We'll talk about that later. No,
I
I'm kidding.
I want
Cut that out.
I want to go everywhere in Greece. I would love to do Corfu. I'd love to do Cyprus. I'd love to do all of that. Oh my gosh.
Have you done
Yeah.
Greece at all?
No.
Oh,
Mm.
you gotta go with me.
I had a phone call with my best friend the other day, and her 21st birthday was Mamma Mia. And we decided that for our 30th, the year that we turned 30, which is 2 years' time, we are going to do a 3 or 4 week, maybe 4 weeks is a bit excessive, but just go, fly to Greece, island hop, live in hostels, party, just go mental, go everywhere we want to go. So I said to her that, but we're doing it out in, it'll be around my birthday because I was born in August. She was born in December. So we'll go summertime, 2 years' time, and we're going to take over Greece. Hee
Message me before you go.
Yeah, of
My
course.
friend, he practically lives in Greece, and he's done all the islands. I have only
Yeah.
done one island. Have done a lot of the mainland, almost all the mainland except for Athens. But he's done all the islands, and
Yeah.
so I can hook you up with great info. But if
Perfect.
you ever want to do mainland, I did 2 week road trip mainland right at the end of the worldwide lockdowns. I
Yeah.
couldn't get anyone to go with me. I had the best time of my life. And I would
I bet.
love to show someone else that because it's kind of funny, but you end up becoming happy by showing people things that made you happy, especially if it
Yeah.
makes them happy as well. And I had just the best road trip. I didn't even wear a shirt. I was at the Temple of Delphi without a shirt. And the security guard was like, "You got to put a shirt on." I was like, "Bro, it's 45 Celsius. I'm dying. I'm not putting a shirt on." And they
No,
didn't come out of their little air conditioned booth.
they couldn't tell you otherwise. That's how I feel about Mauritius because I feel like only South Africans know about Mauritius. So when I put a post up, when I was chatting to people at our various Christmas parties, I was just like, go. It's so affordable. There's so much to do. The food is amazing. The people are so nice. The weather is perfect. It's just so, go. It's like a hidden gem. And also the tourism would do the island wonders. So more people need to go to Mauritius.
Could you fly there from London?
Well, from Gatwick, yes. That's one of the airports. You can get
Goody two
from
shoes,
London,
knowing that
from
Gatwick isn't
London,
in London.
from London Central, you can get a train to Gatwick, which I think is like an hour, maybe less. Then from Gatwick, fly direct. Because when I went, I didn't have anyone to drop me off at the airport, so I just went on the train from Reading, and that was like 45 minutes from Reading to Gatwick. The trains were really easy. So yeah. Only Gatwick does the flights direct to Mauritius, though.
But it goes direct. I mean, Mauritius is an island in, I believe, the Indian Ocean. Is that what it is? And it's also a tax haven. It's like the Cayman Islands for India.
It's the weirdest place, though, because it's very third world, but they're very island proud. So, you know, the locals they do keep their part, the island very clean. It's relatively safe, but it's like a weird mix of Indian and French. And they have this other language called
unexpected.
Creole. Yeah.
Wait, they speak Creole?
Yeah. That is like the main language. Then French, then English, then Hindi, whatever else. But they all look Indian, but next minute they're speaking French and you're like, what? But yeah, no, it's mad clash of cultures. And you know, it's extinct now, but Mauritius is famous for the dodo bird, where it comes from.
Dodo bird's extinct?
Sorry.
Don't do that again.
Have you watched Ice Age? All of the Ice Ages?
I like how you very quickly expanded that. I'm a little bit deficient in my Ice Age knowledge. I could get better, though. What happened?
You need to go watch Ice Age, because it explains the demise of the dodo bird very well, even if it's not historically accurate.
I'm going to watch it. How many people are in Mauritius?
Oh.
What?
I'm a sucker for an animation movie. How many people are in Mauritius?
Which one?
I don't know.
Wait, more important. Which one's your favorite?
It's quite a niche movie. It's about a little purple alien.
No porn.
No. It's called Home. And the little main character in the movie Home is called O, and he's voiced by Jim Parsons. And the whole soundtrack of the movie is Rihanna and J-Lo, and it is adorable. Do yourself a favor, go watch Home. Animation movie.
You did not explain what it's about at all. Is there an
alien?
Give it
away. Yeah, so like...
Okay.
I would give its cheat codes. I can't. You have to watch it.
Okay.
You should have been sold on Rihanna and J-Lo.
Well, I don't. It doesn't tickle me in a nice way. I'm more Britney Spears when she's swinging knives around.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
What about your favorite animation movie then?
I like the one with the Minions.
Just Despicable Me.
Yeah, I love it.
And tonight we steal the moon.
I just love it. Whoever wrote Despicable Me is like an actual well-rounded person who knows how people behave and interact. I mean, it was really well done. And then I love cute little weird creatures. Whoever gets me a Mini-Me plushie, by the way, it's a fast track to my heart, or I don't know what, but I just love them. They're cute, weird, little funny bastards that just make noises. I don't know, but I like that one a lot.
This is my cute little weird bastard. Although she's
What's his name, by the way?
Her name is Nori.
Nori.
She's named after the hobbit that rescued Gandalf in Rings of Power.
Have you read all of the books?
No. I've watched all of the shows, the TV series and movies. Thank you for butting me.
That's good enough. It is a very cute dog. I've seen her quite a bit. She seems very lovable.
It's my child. She's my mental health support companion.
I love that. Did you see the one lady that brought a peacock on an airplane as her mental health support animal?
You can get anything to fly these days. Who was it? It was Salvador Dali who used to walk around with a peacock on a lead, wasn't it? Was it an emu?
I don't know, but it sounds right. So I'm gonna go with yeah.
I think he was a abstract surrealist artist or something like that. I don't know. And he used to just walk around with his pet emu, his pet peacock, and people were like, cool. But that's like in the 80s.
That's
was
perfect.
really out there.
If you haven't seen his paintings, you have to see his paintings. They are super cool. Everyone
Who,
else
Salvador
is all
Dali, of
like,
course.
well, I don't know. I wasn't certain with how you said that. Listen, we got to go to Paris. I'm going to take you to Rodin. I don't know how you say that name. And I don't care. But I love his art and his sculptures. We're going to get a bit lit. We're going to go to the outdoor sculpture garden. They've got some like cabana things you can kind of relax on. I think they're just for show, but we could lay on them.
But we can lay on them. It's fine.
He didn't sculpt them. We can lay on them. It's surrounded by walls, so you're safe from the chaos of Paris. A little bit south of Seine. They've got the door that's like the descent into hell or whatever, chaos into hell. They've got the thinker, of course.
Perfect.
It's amazing. It's beautiful. I love it. I love artists that, I don't know, seem to envision something bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
And where you can't stop looking at what they've made and thinking about it. And I'm not hoity-toity about it. I love all those people that sit in front of the Mona Lisa, stand in front of the Mona Lisa. You're probably there. It's like 40 rows of people. And when I got up to the front, I was looking around like, how should I look at this painting? Because everyone else has got their hand up on their face. So I went like, I got to scratch my face, and then it's going to look better. More interesting. Looks like shit.
I didn't even bother. I got into that room and saw all those people and was like, looked at it from a distance and was like, cool, and just kept going. Because I was like, man, no way. I got other stuff to see. Yeah.
It's so small, and there's so many people.
Well, it's the same. Whenever I have people over and I drive from where I live down to Dorset, which is where I used to work, you end up going on a road called the A303. And when you go on the A303 down to Dorset, you will pass Stonehenge. You will see it from the road. You do not need to stop and pay £30 to park to go and walk around the fucking stones in the middle of the fucking field. My mates are like, oh, we need to go to Stonehenge. I'm like, no. Over my dead body, absolutely not. So.
I can see you as a tour guide. Everyone is screaming on the bus, it's Stonehenge, stop. Fuck right off. It's a pile of rocks.
There's just rocks in a field.
We're not stopping. I'm saving you £30.
Amen.
I went there when I was at uni, and I think it was King's College, but I don't know. So I did the study abroad thing, which was weirdly enough across the street from the hostel that I would later spend a lot of time at on Queensgate. And we did the Stonehenge thing. And I'm sorry. If something is built up too much and you go there, you can only ever be disappointed.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, some big rocks. Okay, winter solstice things happen here. Okay, why have I been seeing so many History Channel shows about this?
Yeah, it's very, very, very entirely underwhelming.
It's so underwhelming.
And that's the UK in a nutshell.
Oh, no.
Kidding.
I
no,
love
London
Orange
is cool.
Face, by the way. What?
Orange Face.
Yeah, we should get into that discussion in a second. One thing I want to say real quick about the Stonehenge, the whole region has like 1 million Stonehenges. There's tons of stone things going on there.
There's one of my friends'
I don't know, maybe it was aliens. What?
There's one of my friends' back garden. There's like 2 of them, and they're not allowed to do anything to them, and they're fucking annoying.
So, like, when they mow the lawn,
you gotta go
have to
around
be this
them.
far away from the stone. Don't you chip that stone. Okay, here's... Your friend could start a new religion. The religion of the 3 stones. However many stones are in her backyard. And we could come up with some amazing story behind them.
Sell it for millions. History Channel documentary. Here we go. Yeah.
Oh. As a member of this religion, you must pilgrimage there once a year and pay £10 to touch the rock.
Seems like a very good deal. Although I'm not sure Granny will like all those people in her back garden. Squishing her tulip.
That is, yeah, I love all of those types of things. Oh, you said, where would you like to go? I haven't been to the island with the heads, west of Peru. I'd like to go there.
Oh, yeah.
I forget what
That'd
it's
be
called.
cool. I do want to do more of South America as well. I just love the food.
Yeah, where have you been in
Oh,
Peru? If you only say Lima, we've had this chat before. Is it
no,
only
I've
Lima
been.
though? I forgot.
No, I've been to Caracas. I've been to Lima. I've been to Machu Picchu. I've been to Cusco. I've been to Ollantaytambo. I've been to, what's that other place called? Oh, I've gone blank. I can see it. It starts with an A.
Arequipa.
Yes, Arequipa. I've been to Arequipa. I've seen the Rainbow Desert. I've seen the Nazca Line. All of it.
Wow, that's really high up. It's 4,400 meters, I think.
Well, I got altitude sickness when we landed in Cusco, so I had to drink the cocaine tea.
That's what they say in London. They just think it's 2,000 meters. I just had to take a line of coke at the bar so I could breathe easier.
I don't understand why drugs are so casual in this country. It blows my mind every time.
It is weirdly casual in
Yeah.
the UK, right? It's
I
a
went
fucking
to a house
island. Should be hard to
party.
smile drugs.
Yeah, I went to a house
What?
party the other day and I left my phone on the table outside, came back an hour later to find it, and there's like residue coke on the screen where someone had just done a line on my phone. And I was like, are you kidding? Are you joking? What the hell?
Welcome to England, baby.
Yeah. And you're walking around London and there's just canisters all over the road from people who have done these weird Noth balloon things that I don't understand either. And I'm just like, and you go to festivals and
Yeah.
everyone's like,
I don't. That should be if I ever get really famous and have some money for marketing, I want to redo marketing posters for cities, and the face you just made will be like the welcome to London.
crazy gurning cocaine face. Although, to be fair, I think that's MDMA.
When I lived in London, a lot of the people that I met are foreigners. I don't even think there's British people in London anymore. I'm sorry, guys. We just come. We enjoy. We leave. But when I started to hang out more with British people and I started to understand, because there was this one time where I lived in the same place for 6 months.
Yeah.
And it was in South Camden, between Mornington Crescent and Camden Town. And once you understand what it looks like to be on coke, and once you get a lay of the land, you kind of, and you know who the bartenders are and everything, it's unbelievable how many people are using drugs every night. It's just so far above and beyond every other city I've been to.
Ridiculous how casual and how consistent it is. Like, you'll just be, I got invited round for a pajama party with pizza. I arrived in my pajamas to eat pizza, and everyone off their face on cocaine. And I'm like, guys, it's Thursday.
This is why I love you.
Like, what is going on? I'm like, do you want? I'm like,
Alex. This is why we get along. I love it. I love it so much.
Just like, and I mean, I was slightly judging, maybe, but I just joined in the sense that I just was part of the party, but didn't actually do any of the drugs. I just pretended, and they were none the wiser because they were like, "What?" So,
well,
but yeah,
you know, at least I can imagine that you are not a party pooper,
No.
but that you also don't feel the need to engage in everything that everybody else engages in.
I don't need
all
it.
The time.
I've got enough natural fucking spunk. I don't need it.
Yeah, London. At some point, once I start releasing episodes for this podcast and I see how things go, we'll see how many stories can be told. But I have so many stories to tell. And I lived 6 months with 6 or 7 Aussies in Southampton.
I love Australians. They're the best. Love you guys.
Yes.
So much fun.
Can we talk about this real quick? How are so many of them so good looking?
Yeah, that's why I want to go to Australia as well. I'm going to find a husband.
We're going to show up on the island. Prisoners, welcome. I'm looking.
You're now part of my kingdom.
For a spouse. You're now part of my kingdom. That's better.
Yeah. I used to watch British Love Island until about 3 years ago, where I just lost interest because it became so manufactured. Now I watch Australian Love Island. Revolutionary. Best shit. Best reality TV you can find.
Is this like where they make them naked in the wilderness and then date each other?
No, they're not naked. They just shove them in a villa in Spain and they just video everything they do. And they match them up and make them do stupid shit. It's mindless, but it's entertaining.
I love it. I didn't know they were still making shows like that. I got to stop watching conspiracy theories and start watching that shit.
Love Island Australia. Do it. The best shit ever.
I will. I need to get back into some of those funny, crazy things. So here's the thing that just perplexes me, right? I'm sure we could find like an ugly one, but it's like 1 in 1,000 or something. There's some weird thing that people who haven't met Australians, at least Australians traveling in Europe, maybe they only let the attractive ones travel. Maybe
they only let the hot ones leave. Yeah. Maybe.
That's a big marketing ploy. Could be possible. So the British people, they send all their prisoners to Australia, and it turns out those are the most beautiful people on their island.
Well, there's a mass exodus of people, fairly good-looking people, just moving to Australia. They're just increasing the hotness demographic, if you will.
But it's weirdly true. You almost can't argue against it. But the ones that travel also, I haven't been to Australia because I was a bit disappointed. Some of my sort of thoughts about how Australia were ruined, and then it pissed me off. And then I learned it's super expensive. The ones that travel are so cool. And they're so funny. They're so sarcastic. And they go out and they have a great time. I mean, they're just great people to be around.
Most of my friends that I made at home hostel were Australian. But the one thing I did notice, there seems to be a very big rivalry between Sydney and Melbourne. And then also, everyone who leaves Australia and sees the world then tells everybody else how shit Australia is. So I'm like, you should maybe do a bit more self-promotion for your country, because I want to come visit.
Did you ever, you know what I love, by the way, I don't know if they still do it. I think they do. If you stay there for a year, to extend to your second year, you have to work on a farm.
I'd love to. Apparently it's really easy to get work in Australia. You just have to get all the right paperwork and then your visas and everything. And then you could literally just go work anywhere. I'd love to do that. Just go work on a farm or in a bar or hostel. Who knows? That'd be sick.
I just love that. They're like, so you really like our country, huh? All right. Well, we've got some farm work ready for you.
Go pick up some shit. Wing.
I don't know any other country that does that.
It's a great initiation. You want to stay? Guess what?
Yeah, it's they have such a great and I have to say, I would really love to get an Australian on this podcast. It's just that I haven't met so many in such a long time, but they undersell themselves. They always say, when you say, wow, you guys travel so long, they say, oh yeah, well, everything is so far from Australia. We have to travel for a long time.
Yeah.
I go, no, bro. You're underselling yourself. And they're so modest about it. They're just really, except for Sydney people. I'm sorry, Sydney people. You're dicks, okay? Give me, oh my God, I love a Tassie. I love Tassies. People from Tasmania.
I don't think I've met a Tassie yet.
Well, everyone outside of Sydney can actually make fun of themselves. And then Tassie's, the whole island are natural born comedians. They've got a second head, lives right next to them and it talks. But they'll understand that. That's a joke about them being, I don't know what, but they are hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
But they always say,
I believe you.
good. Believe everything. Wait until we get to the aliens. Sorry, that was the alcohol talking. So anyway, they undersell themselves. They're always like, oh, everything's so far away. I'm like, no, bro. You guys have an amazing culture of travel. You can take 1 year off of work, go travel the whole year, then come back to your job. Like, nowhere in the world has that on a regular basis. It's beautiful and amazing that your whole culture, and one of them, or a few of them used to tell me that if you would get a job right out of university and you hadn't traveled for a while, they would be like, what's wrong with you? Why haven't you done that?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to do it?
That's what I think everybody should embrace, that, before you settle into a real life, you should go and do some sort of travel somewhere that's not the same country you grew up in. But I think it's the world of good for narrow-minded people and people that are just obsessed with their little village or their little community.
Yeah. For me, it's back to the conversation we had earlier about where do you fit in, and I don't know the right answer, because sometimes I think if I had never traveled, I would be a lot happier. And then I meet people who haven't traveled, and they say, I'd like to travel like you traveled. And then people say, don't complain about traveling because you're so lucky to have traveled. And I'm like, okay, but I don't know. I think at the end of the day, everybody has something that somebody else wants, and the grass is always greener on the other side.
Absolutely. And I understand that when you say, oh, I'd be happy if I hadn't traveled, because you hadn't known true happiness, if that, without being cheesy, and like the freedom of self-exploration within a different country or a different city. So yeah, absolutely. And then circling back to what we discussed earlier, the post-travel depression is definitely something that we are struggling with. So, and I think that's difficult to relate to someone. Like deep story. I was seeing someone very briefly, not anymore, before, during, and after Mauritius. Not anymore, for good reason. Anyway, and when I got back from Mauritius, I was
You can talk about the reason if you want.
No, I don't want to. When I got back from Mauritius, A, I was really missing my friend, and B, I was so sad that it was over, because I had the best time. Like, it was unreal. And he kept saying to me, he's like, oh, but didn't you miss me? Aren't you so happy to be home? Aren't you like so relieved? I'm like, no, I didn't want to come home. And he's like, oh, I don't understand that. Why wouldn't you want to come home? And I was like, well, anyways, he is no more. And I've actually accepted that there was nothing wrong with the way I felt, because he made me feel like I was wrong and I was stupid for feeling that way and silly. Like, why shouldn't I be happy with my life at home? It's not that I'm not happy. I was just happier on an airplane going somewhere else. So it was a weird moment of justifying my emotions, processing them, and then moving on.
Yeah, it's very tough. And that's part of, I guess you could say, being on the same page with somebody. Like, somebody either understands how you feel or they don't understand how you feel. And when you very clearly understand that they do not understand how you feel about something that is a big part of your being, you got to make a choice. And you made a choice. And now we're here on a podcast. I'm not going to cheers you to it, because I don't want to cheers to the destruction of anything, but I'll cheers to perhaps the creation of something beautiful going forward for both of us.
Amen, Captain. Was water.
Please remind me of that. I love that so much.
We have to buy a vineyard somewhere.
So I found out that what you can do is buy grapes from a vineyard. You don't have to own the vineyard. Oh. And there's all sorts of things, like these weren't their favorite grapes, so you can buy their non most favorite grapes or something. and then make wine out of it.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if there's money in that.
But you see,
But if-
I understand where you're coming from, but I think we should buy a vineyard with a massive house and then just have loads of roommates and then we just live off the land, you know? Wouldn't that be fun? And we make wine that is called Was Water.
We could have workaway volunteers.
Yeah. Could have like a hostel on the vineyard.
You stay for free as long as you work the vineyard mines.
Yes, something like that. Wouldn't that be fun?
I would love to try that. Because, you know, well, one of the ways that I've changed is when I met someone, my best friend now, you've got to meet him. He's my Greece connection.
Uh-huh.
He's been there for ages. He's from California. He worked on vineyards. His name is Chris. He is awesome. He teaches you how to appreciate the connection of people around you. And, pardon me. Part of that is because, you know, you got to go at his pace. And part of it is because he's lived so long that he's fucking wise. And once you learn to listen to people who are older than you, which helps if they aren't part of your family. I don't know what that is, but it's like if they're related to you, you're like, I can't listen to you.
Yeah.
It helped me to appreciate the beauty of communal dinners with lots of people, like at Home Hostel in Lisbon.
Oh, I
and
love
being
that so
able
much.
to share food and to share drink and to share stories and to slow down. We don't have to take a bunch of shots and get blackout. We'll end up at the same place eventually. But the way that we get there is add so much more value to our life, sharing stories, sharing moments, sharing presence of being together. And he taught me a lot of that. And that ties in with having a sort of a communal place, not a commune like the hippies had where everybody sleeps with everybody and all this weird stuff where they hate each other at the end of it, but just the fact that you're not alone and you're sharing experiences and you're sharing moments and happiness and space with people who add value to your life as you add value to their life.
But I feel like
anyway, he taught me that. Yeah.
I feel like that's European culture though. Because the French are like that, Spanish are like that, the Portuguese are like that, you know, the Greeks are like that, Italian. They all love sense of community. Your neighbour's invited, your neighbour's neighbour, your cousin, your brother, your uncle. They don't even have to be related. They can all come. And South Africans are like that as well, but we obviously have the safety factor to consider living in Africa. But we always have a saying, this is a South African house, the door's open to anyone, you're always welcome, help yourself. So that you create your own community by being generous and being open. And that's why I think I love Home Hostel and that, you know, that vibe that we had there, because it was almost like a taste of home being called home. So yeah, I love that. If I can find that all over Europe, I'll be so happy. Or we could create
What is it?
that.
You're going to meet Chris. Yeah, definitely.
What were you going to ask me?
Tell me more about that, like in South Africa, because I know so little. So what is that like? I never heard about that saying. Your home is open, essentially.
So I grew up in a gated community, which was what we would call a Gulf estate to make it sound posh. But it was for our own safety. And it was basically where all the wealthier people lived on a Gulf estate. It was all very close by to the local shop, the local school, the local hospital. So you were basically in your own little bubble. And within that bubble, you had book clubs and scrapbooking and sports and all sorts of things that people would just come together and they would share the lifts for the kids for school. They would share this run and that run, and you know, and everyone at all, like there'd be a run club and there'd be a cycle club, and everyone so involved in nobody else's business. A, for the gossip, and B, because we just love having that community, because then you've got a safety net, you've got people to fall back on, you've got people to rely on. And, whenever with school would finish and we get home, I could come home with like 5 kids and my mum would be like, cool, she'd just whip up lunch for all of us and then we'd play in the garden. It was fine. Then we moved out to a farm, which was a good half an hour away and significantly more dangerous. We had crazy security. And that was when I was a bit older as well. And it became a case of wanting to host house parties and have people around. And it was one of those things that we were almost forced to be generous, because once people were there past a certain time, you couldn't leave because it was too dangerous for you to try and drive home at that time of night in that area. So it was almost like, cool, you want to have a party? Tell me how many people are coming so we can make sure we have enough food, beds, and we have enough entertainment for that. And we did. I mean, we had a pool, we had a fireplace, we had a massive garden, we had a trampoline, we had stuff inside. It was sick parties. But that was the thing. Once you were there, you were invited in, you were part of the family, you stayed the night, you helped clean up in the morning, and then you got to go home. And that was very much how then house parties operated within South Africa and Joburg specifically, because it was much safer. And like Ubers, you couldn't trust the Uber drivers. Taxis are not a thing for white people. Unless you had somebody who could pick you up and drop you off. And even so, where we lived, it was not recommended because we didn't want our own safety to be compromised by having cars in and out all the time, especially when you're a bit drunk and all over the show, not paying attention. So it's very much, I think, almost forced, but we loved it and we loved having that. And our community grew as we got older, friends come and go, new people. So yeah, it's a South African house that we have here. Anyone's welcome. Help yourself, part of the family. So I think that's how it developed, really.
I love that. I love the communal aspect of it, not
Yeah.
the
Not the
aspect that's going to be in my next question. Why were Ubers not safe? Everyone thinks Ubers are safe when they're traveling.
Not in South Africa. As a 17-year-old girl going out with her best friend, wearing very minimal clothing, possibly quite drunk by 1 a.m., when 2 of them flop into your Uber and the Uber drivers haven't been properly, assessed or whatever, things happen. Things go down. So basically, I was always told I wasn't allowed to go out unless I was going out with male friends, and I wasn't allowed to go in Ubers or anything unless there was a male friend present. And even so, we were always a bit like, can your older brother just drive us and pick us up instead? Because we used to do this thing if we absolutely had to get an Uber. We would go via McDonald's and buy the Uber driver whatever he wanted at McDonald's as a way to bribe him to not do anything to us and to get us home safely. And the one time we did that, we got to McDonald's and it was such a sketchy Uber driver and he was saying such weird things, we just got out and told him to leave. And then phoned somebody to come and pick us up, because we were like, we would rather wait here at McDonald's at 2 a.m. for somebody else to come get us than be in your Uber with you, Mr. Driver. So yeah, it's a different world. So difficult to articulate to people. And also when we had a night out, if we made it back, not spiked, with our phone, with our ID, with our money, without something being stolen or being drugged, it was a good night. Which is wild.
Oh
So going out in Europe like we did in Lisbon was so freeing for me. We were just walking the streets with total strangers and going into clubs and, drinks open, not worrying about what is going in it, and my phone waving in the different world.
Wow. So in South Africa, there is a McDonald's test for Uber drivers in order to get home safe.
I don't know if this happens to every South African, but that's certainly
That's
what my friend that I did.
That's what I'm going to get out of this. If I take an Uber in South Africa, I'm like, bro, you want a Big Mac? Let's go get a Big Mac. All right,
I think as a white male, you'll be okay.
I'll bite him. No.
Yeah.
I'm joking, but That's legit fucking terrifying. So, yeah, I got this Uber. It's this billion-dollar company from San Francisco, US. It's super special blah, blah, blah pioneer of ride sharing. Now here in South America, I'm trying to get home. Oh, yeah, but down here, even with all the verifications and everything, in order to get home safe, I gotta take my friendly Uber driver to the McDonald's to see if he's gonna try and sexually assault me. So
Well,
we're gonna buy a
to
Big
make sure
Mac.
he doesn't.
Yeah. In the course of buying the Big Mac, I'm gonna see what he says about my short skirt because I'm a gal enjoying my life. And if I'm freaked out, well, then it probably means I'm going to get murdered and chopped up into little pieces. So I got to go. You failed the McDonald's. I'm on my third Uber driver. It's 6 a.m. Now I got to go from buying him breakfast to buying a regular burger. And he's not going to open up as much then because he's pissed that there's no breakfast. It's hard to find a good Uber driver here in South Africa.
And often...
Okay, got excited. I'm sorry, but
That's
that's
okay.
fucked.
And often when you get into the Uber driver situation, you can almost guess because they'll be like, oh, but I'm so thirsty. Oh, but I'm so hungry. It's been such a busy night. And then you know you have to go buy a McDonald's because otherwise you're like, shit.
Wait, really? So
Yeah.
you get in the Uber and it's like, oh, white girl, I'm really hungry.
Yep.
Would be nice if you could buy me a Big Mac so I don't murder you.
Yep.
Fucking
Isn't that wild? And
we
then
need a South African
gets
Harry
worse.
Potter.
It gets worse. When you get stopped by the cop in a roadblock, the best thing is they always say to you, oh, but your brake lights are not working. And you know your brake lights are working. But that is basically code for give me money and I'll let you go. Then you have to scramble around, get some cash out, slip it into your ID, give them your ID or your driver's, whatever. They go, oh, but it's okay, you can go now. And when I sold my car, the little unit where I kept my money had like a gap in it and it sucked in like 300 grand. So when I sold my car, I sold it with like telling them, I was like, there's 300 rand under the AC unit. It just that. So just so you know. And then when I pulled out my old South African ID the other day, I found 200 rand still in it. There was clearly for bribe money for whatever expedition I was going on next. But yeah, you can't trust the cops. And if you get out the car, good luck to you.
Why?
Oh, heaven knows what they'll do to you. I had a couple friends that had things done to them.
Horrible. So. When I'm nervous, I tell horrible jokes. What would happen? How bad is it? Nah, I'm getting nervous, and I'm in Kansas City.
Well, let's not talk anymore about it because we are 2 hours and 17 minutes deep, and it's taking a dark turn, isn't it?
I know, it always takes a dark turn because it's exciting. You know, people think, well, I don't know what people think about travelers actually. But there's so much crazy shit that goes on and we love sharing crazy stories. I always say we should share some happy stories.
I would love to share more crazy stories, but I don't want to put people off of South Africa because it does have so much to offer. And if you want to go, please do. Go to Cape Town. There's vineyards, there's amazing hikes, there's Table Mountain, there's Lion's Head, there's beautiful beaches, there's penguins, there's the best seafood you'll ever taste. And if you just go up the way, you can go and find a couple game parks and go and do safaris. Go to the Kruger. The Kruger is beautiful. You go to the Drakensberg.
I thought you said that those were... I thought you said those were like fake preservation parks down there.
The Kruger is still... You're going to get a safari experience in the Kruger.
Okay.
As I said, it's just a bit more manufactured because the animals are protected from poachers. Not that they're not protected from poachers in Kenya and Tanzania, but it's on a smaller scale, whereas Kenya, Tanzania are like...
Okay.
So you get to see more in South Africa because they're locked in. And you know where the lions are going to be every day. You know where the leopards are going to... You get to see more. Whereas Kenya, Tanzania, if you see it, it's like, whoa, because it's quite rare. And that's what I mean by it's manufactured. Is that
Okay, I see what you're
animals are
saying.
restricted? Yeah.
It's
But
more.
go. Please
It's
go.
more. So, I have a question for you.
Okay.
No horses. What's your favorite animal? No horses, no dogs. I'm talking.
Probably a giraffe.
I'm going with stereotypes.
A
I'm
giraffe.
going to place your country of origin based on this, and this ties in with what we were just saying, which is parks and stuff.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite animal is a giraffe.
You might be from Africa if your favorite animal is a giraffe. Okay. Have you? I didn't expect that actually. I had a hyena joke. So you threw that off.
What?
Have you seen a giraffe? And was it in one of the parks in South Africa or one of the other countries you said has the more wild parks?
Captain Pirate, Sir John, do I have a story for you? So, my
Please.
dad loves hunting, which sounds sunny, but
Is this a heart story?
Is it a what?
A heart story?
I think so. Anyway,
Okay.
my dad used to go hunting. He'd tell the government. He used to go and sort of. One of his very, very good friends had a game farm that was about an hour away from where we lived. And we used to go and stay there. They built a beautiful, what do you call it, lapa next to the bungalow. And it's really nice. We used to have big cookouts with a big fire, sit around it, get drunk, all sorts of things, go on night game drives, day game drives, whatever. We had quad bikes as well. So we just jump on the quad bike, disappear for hours, go driving around. We go find a good spot where you could see everything, like the viewpoint, and have sundowners, watch the sun go down. Amazing. Anyways, on this game farm, there was a reservoir, quite a big round reservoir, because they were subject to drought every now and again because of Africa. And we got really hot the one day because it was 35 degrees. So we jumped on the quads with our cozies and our towels and some beers and ciders and legged it down to the reservoir and jumped straight in. And we're splashing around, swimming, music's going. And we just hear sort of crunching of trees. And next minute we look up and a whole herd of giraffe come wandering over to the reservoir. And they sort of stop and watch us for a bit. And they kind of see that we're just drunk humans in a reservoir with music playing. By this point, we turned the music off because we were like, holy shit. Anyway, they then came over and all of them drank from the reservoir that we were swimming in. Like, it was quite a big one, but I would say like a good 20 meters from where I was hanging on the wall. 7 giraffe were just having a drink. And I was just like, unreal. And then they had a little drink, they wandered off, put the music back on, carried on. So cool.
That's awesome. What was it like to see them in the real world, in the wild, not just in a concrete zoo?
You have this weird sense of respect that just kicks in. You get this complete moment of awe where you just want to be dead quiet, just watch them, watch every muscle move, watch them flick off a fly, eat the leaves off a tree, have a drink, scratch their butt. You're just like, just watching these majestic animals just be. I don't know how to explain it, but you just shut down and just watch and take it in. And then afterwards you're like, did that just happen? Was that real? It's so cool. I love it.
That's awesome. Do you go from feeling like you're at your reservoir to feeling like you're at their reservoir?
Yes. You feel like you're intruding on a very quiet aspect of somebody else's life that you probably shouldn't be in. It's like you're tiptoeing on somebody else's lawn, and you kind of suddenly are a bit like, ooh, I should leave. But at the same time, you don't want to because you're so ensconced in what's in front of you. The only thing I can say is I have a very healthy respect for buffalo, hippos, and elephants because they are very territorial. They are very scary when they get angry, and I'm quite happy to see them and leave. I don't want to hang around because that might piss them off, and then they might want to try kill me. So I'm like, cool, picture, we go now. We impede no more.
Have you? So, hippos, I know a little bit about, which is basically they're like top of the food chain of everything. Um,
They're pretty
I
scary.
remember I saw a video recently of an alligator or a crocodile, I don't remember which one, trying to attack a zebra, and the zebra attacks it back, and then the zebra somehow gets away. And there's all these alligators or crocodiles. I always forget which one is which.
They are crocodiles.
And then there's just a hippo in the background chilling. Like, cool. I'm afraid of nothing. I'm just enjoying the show because they're so high up.
They are terrifying.
Have you seen them outside of a zoo?
Yeah, I've been chased by one. On land and on a boat. It is terrifying.
Wait, the boat one sounds oddly more terrifying.
You're in a boat, and next minute you just see this hippo, like a speedy manatee, coming after you. And the boat takes off, you're hanging on, this thing's coming, you see the teeth, you're like, oh. Nah. Mm-mm. Hippos are scary.
Wait a second. You're like, bro, I just bought this tour online. It didn't include
literally.
death.
Yeah. I don't want to be hippo food.
You're not going to get 5 stars if I die.
Do you know, I think...
Okay, but wait. Let's run through this again. You're in a boat. You're just like, I imagine it's a boat where the engine's controlled like this.
No, it's much bigger. It's like a proper river barge, kind of with a bar and cocktails and beers, and it's like an experience.
Well, now it sounds awesome. I'm gonna have a gin tonic while Lady Hippo eats the other guests.
I think more people die by hippo than any other animal on the planet. Like, okay, besides the obvious, but I'm pretty sure hippos are the number one killers.
Their teeth are insane. It's like...
Yeah, I mean, they don't necessarily eat you, but they just want you dead.
That sounds worse. Sounds like you have a higher chance of dying.
Yeah, I have an intensely healthy respect for hippos. Yeah.
You're on this barge. You're having a cocktail, having just escaped your Uber driver that you vetted at McDonald's. And now a hippopotamus is chasing you guys.
In the water, yeah. He's just like, woo, woo, woo. And they swim bloody fast, eh? Bloody fast.
Really?
Yeah.
Go
and Google it. Yeah. Go and Google a hippo chase in the river. It is scary.
That sounds like a nightmare. You know, like in your nightmares, the bad things go faster and you go slower. That's what it sounds like. Literally.
And they are so destructive as well. They'll literally rip a hole in a boat and then you sink.
Okay, here's my question. I'm on a boat with 4 other people from my hostel. There's one boatman. It's a small boat. Hippopotamus has just ripped off the back right side of the boat and we're sinking. Now, is he gonna kill all of us, or is there any way he just kills one of us? Like, how do I make it so I'm the one that doesn't die?
Well, in that situation, you want to get to land as fast as possible because it's not just angry hippopotamus that wants to eat you. You then have to contend with crocodiles as well.
Oh my God.
They're like a tag team. Crocodiles actually want to swallow you. Hippo just wants you dead. So you just need to get out as fast as you can and pray there's no croc in your way.
I'm going to be honest with you. I bet in Africa I could swim faster than Michael Phelps if there was a hippo chasing me.
I think anybody would.
This sounds terrifying. On land? The only place you're safe is McDonald's. You just got to ask the hippo what McDonald's he wants and sees what he says when he's ordering McDonald's. Okay.
You ask him what he wants, he'll be like, you dead.
Bro, I said only a Big Mac. I'm not on the menu.
Can Can you imagine?
Have you? I'm sorry. They're so terrifying, but they are so harmless looking. They look like fat little Disney angel, like I don't know, cows of the water.
Exactly. The first time I saw a manatee, I was like, "Are they as territorial as hippos?" And my mum was like, "No." So I was pretty stressed the first time I saw a manatee because I wasn't sure what to expect because I'd only ever encountered angry hippos.
That's so funny because they are really fat and round, but the manatees are so lazy. They just, I mean, if the current pushes them this way, they're just like...
They're like, okay, take me.
That's a really funny connotation. You're like, Mom, they look kind of like hippos. Are we about to die?
Literally. She's like, no, you can touch it. I'm like, do I want to touch it though? Is it going to get angry?
Oh my gosh. The world is such a crazy, interesting, amazing place. And it's just, because there's that baby hippo that went famous not long ago. Maybe a year ago or 6 months. And everyone is like, he's so...
Moodeng.
What's it?
Yeah. His name is Moodeng, I think. Moodeng?
Moodeng.
Yeah. But that's why he's so angry, because hippos are so angry. He's just small enough that it's not that scary. It's funny.
So, in a couple years, there's going to be some dead zookeepers trying to make TikToks with Moodeng.
Yep. They're going to have to get a new baby hippo because he will literally try and kill them.
Because I saw the thing where it kind of like bites the leg. I didn't know if it was the same hippo or not. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I guess in a year when he does that, your leg is gone.
Yep. Pretty much. So in a year, Moodeng will not have a TikTok account anymore. He'll be left to be.
He'll be banned for gore.
It's all right. They'll just breed another little baby and make fun of that one. Fine.
I thought that was like a midget hippo or something, and
he might have been a pygmy hippo, but it doesn't make him any less aggressive.
He'll still murder you. It'll just take a little bit longer. So, what age did you... I gotta be honest, I don't know what's gonna happen with this podcast, but I'm having so much fun. I just love all of these talks. And when we talked before, everything was such a short discussion. When did you move from South Africa, death by pygmy hippo, to England, death by too much foundation?
I decided to move to the UK in 2019. So I came over January 2019.
Wow.
I was over in December 2018 for a load of interviews because I wanted to work at a big international equestrian yard so I could get loads of experience on the international circuit, compete, and all that stuff. So I landed a really cool job at an Olympic event yard down in Dorset with a brilliant rider called William Fox Pitt, who is a legend in the equestrian world. He's won more medals than God. And
wow,
had a brilliant integration into society here and the way it works and the horsey world and everything. And I worked there for a year and a half. I was going to stay longer, but COVID ruined everything. So then I moved back home and worked as a carer for 2 years. I wiped people's bum during COVID. It was great.
Human people or horse?
Yeah, human people. I looked after people with Parkinson's, dementia, MS, all sorts. It was great. I was busy, I was out, I was meeting people, I was chatting to people, doing stuff while everybody was locked inside, so it was fine. And then opened up my freelance business, which I've been doing ever since, and then plopped in and out of other various jobs that I've tried to do along the way, but I just keep ending up coming back to horses, so I'm trying to get out of horses for good and then go traveling. But yeah, so it's been 6 years now living on the soggy island.
On the what island?
The soggy, bipolar little island.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's good to deal with people who aren't at their top because it gives you perspective on the fact that we won't always be on our top, and that we will have downs, and we can't judge anyone based on things like that. And I think there's a lot of people that are a bit too quick to judge people on that. And so anyway, I think I think that was a really good experience to have. Certainly, I don't know if it was grounding for you, but I feel like in general, it's sort of a grounding type
Oh my
experience.
gosh, yeah. The little 21-year-old girl that arrived in the UK couldn't be more different from the 27-year-old that's before you. But I had to go through all of that to be who I am now and to have figured out what I like, what I don't like, my superpowers, my weaknesses, And yes, the original reason why I moved here doesn't necessarily exist anymore, or like my goals and my ambitions aren't the same as they were. But that doesn't mean that I'm not in a good spot to operate for the next set of goals and the next plan. Being in the UK is, as we said, super cheap flights, really easy to get to Europe. So I've just got to try and figure out how I'm going to get more work because Brexit ruined that for us. But anyway, I will figure it out.
Can you say where you are a citizen of, or are you just like you got a UN passport, citizen of everywhere, pay no taxes?
No, I wish. Kidding. I was actually born in the UK. My mum kept her legs crossed, flew over here and went, and then I got the British passport, and then she flew back 2 weeks later, and I grew up in South Africa for 21 years. So I then got a South African passport as well. So I have both. I'm a dual citizen of both countries. But because of Brexit, to work in Europe, because we've left the EU, you now have to have a work permit and a work visa once you've been offered a job. So it's quite annoying.
What I don't understand is why... Okay, no, I understand it, but because the people who make the decisions aren't affected by the results of their decisions. That's the reason why. But the UK is so close that they could work out a bilateral agreement super easy.
You would think.
The entire Europe, they don't call themselves Europe, by the way, for people who don't know this, but all of Europe goes there to learn English. That's why the rents are so high in London. As someone who has been there a bunch of times, who has been apartment searching a million times, who has lived in apartments, lived in hostels, lived there for years, they go there to learn English. Okay? So many of my friends and everybody, they have power to negotiate that they just don't use, that would make it so that they don't have to engage in all the agreements they don't wish to engage in, but could still make it easier for the people who are citizens to go to the mainland, because so many people go there.
Yep,
and I mean, London, I'm sorry?
It's very stupid, the whole situation.
Yeah.
And also, I find it's really, well, this is part of the reason why horses have become so expensive is now, pre-Brexit, when you traveled a horse between the UK and Europe, you literally rolled up to the ferry, scanned your passport, got on the ferry, traveled, got off the other side, drove. Now, because of Brexit, the horses have to have a carnet, which is like your travel insurance, to make sure that you don't do the shit out of Europe if something goes wrong. Then they have to go into quarantine / customs, and they have to get approved, and they have to get all of this crap. So what used to be really easy, hop on the ferry, hop off, keep going, you could then stop somewhere, let the horse off for, welfare reasons, give it water, let it put its head down and graze. Now you end up sitting in customs for 2 hours before the ferry, then customs 2 hours after the ferry. Animal welfare goes out the window if it's hot or cold, and it's all about the stamps and the paperwork and the load of shit that we never had to deal with before. So thank you, Conservatives.
Yeah. I think just nobody who makes these decisions has to suffer from these decisions.
No.
I mean, one of the things, like we said, I think both of us don't get too political, but the older I get, the more I'm like, you don't have a choice that actually saves you from anything. Like, I just feel like that. I just feel like.
Well, that's why it's easier to just stick your head in the sand.
And find something that you enjoy drinking.
Was water.
Was water. Tell me, we had a chat once. I gave you like 3 random questions on Instagram, and one was about what you would drink in this instance. Did you reply brandy or whiskey or something like that? What was it?
My answer to that question would change on the monthly, but
Okay.
at the moment, I'm very into my rum. Spiced rum, to be preferred, perhaps.
What kind of?
Dark spiced rum.
You're trying to get on my good side.
No, when I went to Mauritius, drank a whole bottle of rum to myself within 7 days and have not looked back. Loved it. It was a great time. So I know I'm very pro rum. No, I when I was in, because this is the one thing about Mauritius, the alcohol is very expensive there because they have to import everything. So when I was in the airport in duty free, I bought a really nice bottle of rum. I thought, this will last 10 days. We can all sip on it. Be nice. Loved it so much I drank it all by myself in 7 days. So that was called Kraken Rum.
I love it.
Kraken Rum. And the bottle is beautiful. So yeah, look it up.
When I was in the Philippines, I couldn't get to the good hostel in that city.
Yeah.
A very small city on an island. So I stayed in a hotel, and there were a bunch of other people, same situation as me. So it was basically a hostel. We just came to the common room. It hosteled it, basically. Got together, had drinks.
Made it a hostel,
stories, played games. Yeah. And it was all open air. So you had like rooms down here. You had a hallway here, but it was completely open to the outside there. Yeah. So just a little railing, and you're all sitting here. And I was tasked to get the alcohol for 8 of us or so. And I go to the shop, and we're a little bit back from the main drag, like 4 or 5 streets back. So in a small city, you're basically, in the like outskirts.
Yeah.
I go to a shop, and it's like a 1 or 2 liter bottle I think it was a 1 liter bottle of rum. And it was 75 cents.
Wow.
And I had never been there before. So I just came back and I told everyone, I said, listen, guys, that 20 euros you gave me? So this cost 75 cents. So either we're going to die or have a great night.
Was it good?
It was amazing. It was so good. It was so good. We had a great night.
I want to go to the Philippines. I used to work with a Philippine lady, and she was so much fun. She used to rock up to work super hungover. She was really good at her job, but you could see she was like,
They are really funny and just really personable people, I found.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, Pirate. It is quite late here, so I'm going to have to wrap it up now, if that's okay.
That was a good conversation. No, it's not okay. You're not allowed to, actually. It's part of our contract, our rum contract, 75-cent rum contract. Alex, it was so nice to talk to you.
We could talk all night, you know that.
We have to do this again. And we need
Part
to
2
plan
of the pod.
2025.
Yes, we do. I know that I am skiing first week of Feb, possibly going to Croatia at the end of April. I want to do a load of Europe in summer, and then I want to go to Mauritius again and then work ski season. So, easy, very affordable.
Well, you've got to do Greece road trip with me at some point. I want to take somebody who's pretty bitchin'.
Yeah.
Somewhere that I've been, because I did it all by myself and I want to share it. It was just, it was amazing.
This is how I feel about Mauritius. I want to share it with everyone. Everybody
you share Mauritius with me. I'll share Greece with you.
Deal.
On that note, The most amazing Alex of pretty much the whole world. We didn't even talk that much about Peru. Oh my gosh, we have
Next
so
time.
much more to talk about. I have so
I can
many
hook you
questions.
up.
I want to get your dad on this podcast.
Yep.
I want to talk about pisco sour. We have so many things to talk about.
My dad makes the best ceviche you'll ever taste in your life. Yeah. We got to get Papa Mun on here. For
I'm
sure.
going to have to come over to your house.
Yep. Everyone's welcome. South African house was always open.
All right. Well, thank you, my dear. It was such a great time having this great conversation with you.
Thank you for having me. Been great with it again, for sure.